123 of this charismatic French bulldog Hank will be waiting for him at home and he'll be saying, woof, woof, woof.
Very lucky he didn't do the first hour because he could have quite literally been a fish out of water, but thankfully for Nemo, he knows how to navigate these conditions.
We've got 6 hours, that's right, 6 hours to go here, and we're only on lap 1.
Not too far away from Immortal Nick, but Immortal Nick right behind Vert Wheeler here, but Vert Wheeler still got to do that mandatory pit stop.
You can see there Vanessa enjoying this. She goes, "Oh, you're so brilliant and funny," and she absolutely loving that stream over there at 7 a.m. And this guy down there side by side with Random, and then it's Hoot Corp. Look at this down Kemmel Straight, Prince, as the team radio beeps are coming in, flying under the radar. Welcome to you, and it's so close. Is there going to be contact? Well, they say better late than never, and in this case, I'm only 5 hours, 46 minutes, and 55 seconds late to the party. But hello, everybody, and welcome to the Australia-New Zealand Series 8 hours of Bathurst here this afternoon. I do apologise straight off the bat. I did have a personal issue where I had to rush off to Melbourne for for a family health emergency, but like I said, I apologise for that. But we are back and ready to go. And the man who, alongside me to talk all about it, the great man Chuck Norris, Nigerian Prince, better late than never. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, that's it, Trev. Better late than never. We're always here and keen for some action, and this racing has been going on for quite a few hours now, and the lads, the racing's nice and close, Trev, which is nice and good to see. Wilster, fastest lap of the race, as well as leading the race too. So keen to see how this final 2 and a bit hours unfolds.
And you can see, speaking of Wilstar, there he is. He's got some traffic to contend with at the top of the mountain. 146 laps into this race, and well, here we've got Project 1 into the pits, so Stone Towel into the pits. So you can see there we've got our rule book with us, 4 driver teams. We'll have 3 hours and 30 on the clock, and there's all sorts of 7 mandatory pit stop for tyres, Chuck. No pit window, 70 minute stint timers. So in terms of the drivers, I think we might have a change. Yep, it seems that Stone Towel is out and Dynamite is into that car, but we will recap here. Possums! And we don't have Bob. I forgot about Bobby Hoskins. How could I forget about Bobby? He was the star of qualifying, Chuck, and he's not here with us. Mac Miller, yeah, well, I crashed in P1, so I can't talk about anything else. And we've got Jackery there in 4th, recapping. 2 drivers yet to make, you can see there, we've got the yellow with the 1 Chuck, and does that mean that they've made a pit stop? Or they are yet to make a second pit stop? Is that what that means? I'm totally frazzled here at the moment.
No, you're okay, Trev, you're okay. So, if you look at the standings, the green stripe will mean that those drivers have completed all of their mandatory pit stops. And the number inside the yellow symbolises the amount of pit stops that they've got remaining for the mandatory side of things. So there's a couple of drivers still with 1 mandatory stop to go before they're all completed and they can drive it home.
There we have it, a beautiful explanation from a simply beautiful man in Chuck Norris, the great man. And you can see Kings Racing now in P5. And what a lap. I still am getting over last night's qualifying Chuck Norris. But what about that 2 milliseconds between first and second? Hainsey, of course, put in that stonking lap. And then Will Star, of course, getting the job done right when he needed to. Imagine that pressure, Chuck Norris, that was on him for that last lap, and he managed to get the job done. But stands for little here at the moment because, well, in fact, he is in front, I should say, there out in front. But medal steal for PRT in second position, and we might go through the order, Chuck, to get people up to speed here. Jackery there for Lost Boys. Dynamite is there in fourth, and then we saw this man a moment ago for Kings Racing, Jason Wilkinson, and then Hammer with Glasso. Mid-mat for BCG2, not too sure whether they'll be happy with that performance there. We don't know what's gone on earlier in the race. If anyone's out there in the comments section, let us know, and we'll keep people updated. Oh, there's a couple of battles here. Hainsey, is this Hainsey and Glasso? Let's have a look here once the Mount Panorama cameraman tries to... Trev missed the part when we were winning, says Nismo Nath, but please share the stream. I think you already might have shared the stream. Like I said, I had a family emergency this morning of all days, would you believe? But Hainsey is through, and it looks like, Chuck Norris, that Glasso is in the pits here with a bit of damage to the front of that car.
Yeah, so it doesn't look too good on the front of that car. Hopefully not too much damage, and hopefully they won't be sitting in the pit lane for too long, because they look like they've been having quite a good run here. It's a shame to see them in, but you know, it could also, Trev, it could also be one of their scheduled stops in a way, because stopping now will throw them into a situation where they'll only have one more pit stop to make it home. So it's an interesting strategy, but yeah, hopefully the damage isn't too much.
Well, Jack was nimble, Jack was quick. Jack still couldn't dodge a Chuck Norris roundhouse kick. That's the man alongside me. First one. Imagine 8 hours of it as Ricardo, as we take a look at Hooncorp. Nismo will love this. Hooncorp there with HC Lewis. You'll be proud, we know it. Or is that JG Lewis or JG King Holmes? I do not know. But you can see there, Ricardo saying, hopefully all good with the family now. Yes, all good. Thanks, Ricardo, tuning in from the land of Max Verstappen, who took pole position. All of that pre-season testing, all of that sandbagging, Chuck, and Max just puts it on pole and continues where he left off in 2023 and 2022 for that matter. But no, all going well out there, ladies and gentlemen. A quick appointment. Had to duck down to Melbourne with my father, who is doing very well, and I appreciate those comments. But we are here now, and we've got 2 hours, a tick over 2 hours, I should say, and then some change on the clock, and still plenty to play out here, Chuck Norris. We've still got some interesting battles. We've got Jimmy and Jono, and Jimmy has just given up his payload.
Yeah, Jimmy giving up his payload here. It's lots of interesting strategies. Obviously, we haven't seen the first few hours, so you know, we're kind of catching ourselves up into the way that these drivers are navigating themselves around Mount Panorama. But yeah, it looks like Jimmy giving up his payload momentarily here, but Aaron Thomas as well, holding on to that right-hand side of the circuit to allow those drivers to go past. I believe Aaron's in a GT4. I could be wrong, Trev, but yeah, Jimmy, hopefully he can catch back onto his payload, because that's a bit of a moment, and that's
it seems that Jimmy has deposited himself into the wall there at Griffin's Bend, and there's an almighty amount of damage to that car. We saw him give up that position to Jono Stan in BCG1, but now he has got quite a lot of damage to that Porsche. You can see Porsche's in 6th, 7th and 8th, but Jimmy now, he's only got a few seconds, and then Hainsey is all over the back of him, look. And these boys, about to say, I've driven 500 kilometres myself today, but everybody's doing well in the Byers household now. But Jimmy, what are you doing, Jimmy? Oh, Jimmy boy. And Jimmy does not want to give anything up here, Chuck Norris, despite the fact that Hainsey is all over his ginger at the moment.
Yeah, so it's an interesting concept. So that slight mistake has obviously put him down with a little bit of damage. It definitely hasn't helped him there. But that send down Skyline to try and overtake Aaron in the GT4 there was a bit sketchy. But in a way, I can understand why he wanted to do it, because if he didn't seize that opportunity and send it when he did, he would have obviously had Hainsey straight behind him going down Conrod here, where he's built himself a little bit of a buffer momentarily.
And it's amazing, isn't it, Chuck Norris? Because we see, 150 odd laps into this 8-hour race in the Australia-New Zealand Endurance League for the PS5, and you can see, Hammer and Sofa King. This is going to get interesting before it gets ugly, that's for sure, because these two now, you can see that Bentley very wide indeed. It's naturally a very wide car, Chuck, but Sofa King all over the back of him, as you can see in that Aston, and LSR Racing currently in 12th. What a battle we saw last night for the final positions in the top 10 shootout. But we are here at the moment at Mount Panorama, 6.213 kilometres this circuit, and Sofa King cannot find a way past here, can he? Especially not in this part of the circuit anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very tricky over the top to make a passing opportunity. So, biding your time and making sure that you can try and get a move done anywhere outside of being up in the mountain is definitely the way to go.
As we see them continue their battle royale down Conrod Straight, and Ricardo says, Voodoo, are you ready for Potato Toner next week? Some huge players in that one. Massively influential people in the world of sim racing, including Chuck Norris and others. Chuck, we've got some big names in that one. Are you fronting up for QRT? But look at this battle. We'll get back to that in a second. But Hammer's in the pits. He flirted with that pit line. And Ricardo's up against Tony Kanaan and the former Indy racer. But we've got some big names in that one, Chuck, which you're taking part in. When is that exactly?
Yeah, so I believe it's next weekend, the Potato kicks off. Really looking forward to that. But yeah, I'll be racing with my esports team, QRT Esports, which Ricardo is actually a part of. Ricardo welcomed me in there earlier this year. But yeah, there's lots of big name drivers, as mentioned, Tony Kanaan. We've got Jimmy Broadbent, Jardia, lots of esports influencers and those kind of drivers, as well as big manufacturer teams as well taking part. So next weekend, March the 9th, it's going to be a big one, Trev.
March the 9th, next weekend, and boy, I will be tuning into that, Chuck, and that is going to be fantastic. As Hainsey now, I think we might have seen Jimmy dropping his positions now, because he's down to 9th, and what's the best we could ask for? We saw him get some damage. Is it better to come in, Prince, or do you lose too much time? Especially he's in some traffic now, but he has not come in the pits. He's continuing on. So he's right behind Hainsey, in fact, who's got some traffic to contend with as the viewers are coming in. Better late than never. I've never been...
Get in my sack!
Get in it! As Steph's joined us all the way from Sydney. A former South Australian like yourself, Chuck, and Steph is here with us. Let me be your hero.
Sorry to jump in there.
Oh, hello.
She's actually 4,000 meters up in the sky at the moment. She's making her way down here to Adelaide at the moment for some sad circumstances. So thoughts and prayers are with you at the moment, Steph.
Welcome to the stream. Always a pleasure, Steph. We hope you're doing well there. And look at this. There's cars all over the circuit here, as you'd expect. We've got 20 plus runners, 4,000 meters in the sky. And great to have you with us, Steph, one of the supporters of this channel. We absolutely love to have you as part of the family. And yes, I was 6 hours late. I could have almost flown to Adelaide, had a coffee with the Prince, or broken into his house and cooked up some drumsticks or something, and then without him knowing, and then got back on a plane and flown back to Melbourne, and then flown back to Benalla in the northeast of Victoria. Well, if anyone didn't know where I live, they do now, Chuck Norris. But Ricardo says that apparently they could use some support in the potato spud toner race. So I'm not sure what sort of support I could give Ricardo. Let us know. Apologies, 8,000 metres now. She's getting higher and higher every second, Prince.
Yeah, she's giving us our bird's eye view. All we need is like a projector, project us onto those clouds and get us going worldwide there, Trev.
Yes, and definitely the eye in the sky, as she's put it very nicely indeed. It's not eye in the sly, because that'd be something to do with Sylvester Stallone. Hey, I'm 8,000 meters in the air. And there we have it. So, boy, they always wonder. It's like when I was possessed last night during qualifying, Prince. You should have seen them. They were wondering what on earth was going on. But let's recap, Chuck Norris, because Zest won Lemon for FTC SC1, if I can say that correctly. 152 laps into this race. Talk about dedication, says Ricardo, because Steph's our eye in the sky at the moment. And Zest 1, are they a lap ahead of the field, Chuck? Can we check that on the timetable? No, they're not a lap ahead of the field, are they? They're less than that, aren't they? 360 minutes into the race?
Yeah, so they've got about a 1.7 second lead over Project 1, which is in P2. So yeah, a little bit of a gap there, but not too much. But, Trev, it is looking like it's going to be close and a nice photo finish, hopefully, for this final 2 hours.
Well, there is a 70-minute stint time and no pit windows here tonight. 7 mandatory stops for tyres. And the man alongside me who can piss his name into concrete, we know that, Chuck Norris. But of course, a man who's got a lot of experience, not only in the sim racing world, but in the endurance racing world as well. And a maximum driving time for 3 and 4 driver teams is 3 hours and 30 minutes. And Chuck, that is a long time to concentrate at the best of times. But what is a normal stint length for yourself in one of these sim races? Does it depend whether it's a 6, 12, 24-hour race, or is it just a matter of all chipping in a couple of hours here and there for the team?
Yeah, it depends entirely depending on who you're driving with, what kind of stints have been managed and stuff like that. But typically we would run in 2-hour blocks. Sometimes it might be a little bit different. Sometimes you might run a 3-hour block. But yeah, typically to keep yourself fresh and, keep your attention straight there, we would normally do a 2-hour block.
Yes, it's a matter of concentration, isn't it, Prince? Do you go somewhere else? What happens to you, Chuck, when you're behind the wheel in your cockpit? Do you go somewhere else, Prince? Is it a matter of sort of we've heard Senna talk about sort of going somewhere else and just getting into the zone. Is it a matter of sort of zoning out and getting into that rhythm lap after lap after lap, Chuck Norris? You are Chuck Norris, though, aren't you?
Yeah, it's tricky, staying focused over the course of not only just a single stint, but once you come in and you're sitting down in the pit lane and you've got to go back out and have that focus and commitment for a full stint, and a whole nother hour, if I can get my words correct. It's definitely tricky, but it's one of those things. You've always got your team in your ear, coaching you along, making sure that you're switched on, you're focused. They're almost like your eyes in the sky as well. Making sure that they're keeping an eye on what's going on in front of you, so that nothing's going to be a surprise.
Well, I tell you what, it's all about preparation, Chuck. We know that. And here's a gaggle of cars. John Vert Wheeler. And here's an interesting little battle on our screens at the moment. Down Conrod Straight, a couple of Hoon Corp cars in there as well, as we look at John in the Ferrari. And, honestly, appreciate it now, as long as you can deal with a crying mess. But, no, that's all good. Her favourite boys are streaming two of her favourites, Chuck Norris, of course, on stream tonight, and always here for you. And we mean that too. Flick us a message whenever you need to chat us. Look at this, 5 cars all together here. We're 6 hours or so into this race, 6 hours and 4 minutes to be precise, and we're still seeing battles all over the place. And I've got to say that there have been a lot of Bigfoot reporting Chuck Norris sightings recently, Chuck, but after all this time, we're still seeing some great battles out there on top of the mountain, aren't we?
Yeah, it's one of those ones you don't normally see everybody kind of within this same distance between each other, but you know, I mean, we saw that all the way through all the practice races in the lead up to this 8 hour, as well as even the qualifying last night, Trev. You know, the drivers amongst themselves are all relatively close. The safety cars as well, which we haven't seen ourselves, but we've seen the reports of the safety cars throughout the Discord earlier. You know, it's kept everybody within the few laps, and everyone's pace likewise is, you know, equally almost on par. So it's great to see so many drivers not only on the lead lap but within a 2-lap distance. As there's someone facing backwards, Trev. Who's
and
that?
There's someone facing the wrong way. We're just trying to flick through the field. Is it Heath?
Maybe Heath?
I think it's Heath. Yes, Heath. Watch out for Heath. And there we go, CS Racing, and that is disaster for the 686 BMW squad. They're down in 16th, Chuck Norris, and my goodness me, and one of the worst places is never a good place to spin off backwards at a couple of hundred clicks, but that is disaster for them. You can see the damage there on the front of that car, and will they be coming into the pits, Chuck Norris? They're down in 16th position, and they're sort of on their own. They've got Scar ahead of them in the McLaren, and Aaron Thomas a few laps down as well, but they're of course in the GT4 class, but just looked to lose it ahead of that gaggle of cars ahead of him, Chuck. And as you know, you've pumped in many laps around this circuit. It's not a difficult thing to do, but let's just take a look here at CS Racing and see whether they're going to come into the pits. They might as well. No, they do not come into the pits, Chuck Norris. They've got a couple of laps on Aaron Thomas there in the GT4. Do they just continue on here, do they, and hope for the best?
Yeah, so I'm wondering, it did look like Heath did want to come into pit lane, but it almost seems like his team is like, no, just push on. So I don't know whether they've kind of just started a fresh stint, and kind of coming in to fix the damage is going to throw them out of contention completely. So I feel like they're going to be pushing on until they naturally need to come in, which I assume most people will be on almost the similar pit strategy, where they'll be coming in and they'll have one more pit stop until they do the run to the checkered flag.
And that is the beautiful voice of Chuck Norris alongside me, a multiple champion, not just in KRL, but in many different aspects of motorsport. And he's just a champion bloke in general, that's for sure. A man who plays dodgeball, and the ball dodges him. But 1 hour and 52 minutes remaining in this race. Where can we recap here? We've got the Zest 1 for FTSC1, and Mrs. B is out there cooking dinner. I was away all day, and I come back to Mrs. B cooking dinner. And fantastic stuff there. Thank you for that, Mrs. B. I did get a call to mash the patatas bravas. That is Spanish, if anyone's out there wondering, for mashed potatoes. But Mrs. B, great to have you with us as she's out there doing her thing. But still some close battles. What is this before my eyes? Is this a battle between Sparky and Jono Stan for PRT? Oi! PRT, and Matt is only 2.4 seconds further back, and as well as Hainsey. And Hainsey, in the half an hour or so we've been on air, Chuck Norris, Hainsey is making massive ground here for S2 T2, and we saw last night they've got the pace, this squad, haven't they, this weekend?
Yeah, 100%, Trev. You know, Hainsey looks like he's been on an absolute mission since we've jumped in, and you know, he's only 2.7 seconds behind Mint Matt for BCG2 and P6. So you know, even though they've got the silver tag, or we like to call it the Pro-Am tag, you know, they're definitely showing that they've got some pro pace on that team. So it's good to see.
Just recapping, if you're joining us, I did have a bit of a family emergency where I had to head to Melbourne, the capital of this great state of Victoria. I had to take old Papa Byers down to see a specialist there, as Mrs. B has advised me that I do not need to mash those patatas bravas, so I can stay here with you all. And well, only 6 hours late, Prince. I think Zest said it at the start of the stream, better late than never. And I'm never usually late. If I'm late, it means I'm dead. As Sean Connery said in that movie Entrapment many, many years ago, but you're all probably too young out there, children, to remember that. But Matt, BCG2 Racing here, Hainsey right behind Matt, and it appears that Matthew Simmons, the great Matthew Simmons, has got some damage to the front of that car. I'm not saying that he did that, Chuck Norris, because he's in a team, of course, with a few others, but that looks like a considerable amount of damage to the front of that Porker.
Yeah, it does look like he's got a little bit of damage to the front of the Porker, and even down the right-hand side of the car, if my eyes are right, I think it's the right-hand side of the car as well. Looks like a little bit of damage, but then again, most cars around Mount Panorama will cop a little bit of damage here and there, and it just seems natural with the track and the cement walls being like straight there.
Well, what about Wheezy? That's not Wheezy, is it? But, Matt and Hainsey getting very interested.
I think I feel a song coming on. Apparently I laughed like Wheezy.
Or whatever it was. But this is getting very serious indeed. And Hainsey now, we won't go to Rajesh, Prince, I'll tell you. Rajesh, we'll get to him a little bit later. But no, the bus has well and truly arrived, and I think this is getting serious down Conrod Straight now, because Hainsey, zoom, is getting very close to Mintmat, and despite Mintmat's exceptional powers of being able to transport a vehicle around a circuit very, very quickly, I don't think he's going to be able to stop this move. I think it's a matter of if and not when. In fact, I think it's going to be when and not if you know what I'm trying to say. Prince, you're a better man than me. I think this move's going to get done very, very shortly.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Trev. Hainsey's on an absolute mission here. Matt's going to try and hold him off as long as he can. But if I was Matt, in a way, I would understand that Hainsey is very quick right now, and you could almost use that to your advantage to kind of keep clawing up. Because, you know, as you can see on the screen, not too far up the road, you've got Sparky straight behind Jono Stan here as well. So Hainsey on his mission to getting up to P4 here. Mint Matt can almost use that to his advantage to carry himself up as well.
And you can see he's a very experienced customer. My goodness, what did they put in the coffee at the Wallen rest stop coming out of Melbourne? Because I'm up and about, and this aliens are real. The aliens are real. They're just hiding from you, Chuck Norris, apparently. But 1 hour and 48 minutes to go in this race. And my goodness, I had a coffee about an hour ago, and they must have slipped some... I won't say it, Chuck, because we get in trouble very easily, don't we? But I think Jason has a shot at the win here. Wow, that is a big call with an hour and 47 minutes and something to go. But Hainsey now, he's not going to get the job done here, Chuck Norris. But if you were a betting man, and I know that you're going to... look at this. Is there an opportunity to pass here? Does he line him up down Conrod Straight through Forest Elbow? And we know a bit about this circuit now, Chuck Norris. We've been streaming here for 3 months solid without a break, but this could be the move that Hainsey wants to see. And does Matt fight it? So many questions to be answered here in the next 2 and a bit hours. But look at this, Hainsey pulls out. He gets a bit of slipstream from behind the Porker, and that McLaren, I should say. Oh, no! Hainsey gets onto the curbs on the inside, heading into the chase, and disaster there for Hainsey, and he's done a good job to pull that car up without ending up in the wall there, Chuck, especially at that speed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Trev. The moment I saw him kind of get up on that curb, I was like, oh no, he's in the fence. But Hainsey did so good to kind of collect that car and make sure that it was still pointing in the right direction. He barely lost any time. Obviously, he couldn't get the move done on Mint Matt there, but, you know, he barely lost any time, so definitely massive props there to Hainsey.
Great effort there. He's going to load up his barrel and try and deliver the knockout blow, I think, next time around. Like we said, not many opportunities up here across the mountain, but we're going to recap for those joining us. And Chuck, if you stream it, they will come. And that sounded weird, but no, they're coming online at the moment. And there's 25 of them, Chuck Norris. Not quite the numbers we saw. What did we peak at yesterday, Chuck? Was it 70-something? But
I think we peaked at about 73 last night during the qualifying.
Well, I tell you what, that's a fantastic effort. Big shout out. What a save. Normally it does mean death there. It certainly does, Ricardo. And what time is it over there in the Netherlands? And do you think your guy Max Verstappen's going to win tonight or today or whatever the hell time that race is on? It's on tonight or this morning, I think. It's a Saturday race, of course, isn't it, in Bahrain? And boy, let's hope that Max doesn't just romp away with it. But Ricardo's saying, I hope Max does romp away with it, because I'd like to see that, you know. But they've done enough winning, haven't they, Chuck, with Max? Super Max. And do we think Zest 1 has a quickest lap of this race at the moment? 159 laps into this race. And Rain of Fire has joined us, he says, at Kit Byers and at Voodoo, the Nigerian prince. And Rain of Fire, a man that I call in the GT7 Race on Oz Division 1 League. And he's a top bloke, isn't he? We've got to be honest with each other, Chuck. If they had to pick a man to go to the trenches with and go over the top and charge at the enemy, it'd be Rain of Fire, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there, Trev. Rain of Fire, great to see you, buddy. It's been a little while since we've seen you on the track, or it's been a little while since I've seen you on the track, I should say. I hope you've been doing well.
And Banana Josh has also joined us there. Banana Josh as well, another GT7 boy. And what are we doing? Let's just wait and see. I don't think we're going to get to that race tonight. Of course, for GT7. We didn't happen last week at Grand Valley Speedway, Chuck, but that's a story for another day around the campfire when the ghosts are telling stories about you. But I'll be in the KTM shortly, says Rain of Fire. That's what they do, don't they, Chuck? The ghosts, they all when they get together, they tell Chuck Norris stories. But no, I'm going across old ground there. But what a person we've got in the commentary box with us. Because don't forget, March the 9th, Chuck Norris, you will be in the Spudtaceous Potato Toner race. And there's a bit of a Spud theme, isn't there, for that race? But you will be in that race, Chuck Norris. Have you even given yourself a shout out yet in the comments?
Yeah, well, I'll be racing for QRT Esports, my esports team that I signed with earlier this year, in the Potatona, the International Spudway, as they're calling it. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's March the 9th. Oh, Mint Matt, though, he's got a drive-through for pit lane, Trev.
Oh, dear, and he has dropped down the field by a considerable distance there. And what on earth has happened there? We see sometimes, don't we, Chuck Norris, these Gran Turismo 7 guys, they come back across after a few GT7 races, and they do struggle, don't they, with pit lane entry and exit. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Could it be for possibly speeding in the pit lane, Chuck?
Yeah, it might be speeding into pit lane or jumping off of the pit limiter a little bit too early on the exit there. Those are the usual culprits for getting a drive-through.
As you can see there, everybody at the top of the chat,
Get in my sack!
get in that sack, because you can see if you click that love heart emoji thing there, and you can jump into his sack free of charge and join the V is for Voodoo Live. And I've got to say, there's not much work done once that man starts streaming, because I just jump across and forget about work altogether, Prince. And don't you worry about those shadow coins, because I've almost saved up 10 grand in shadow coins, which means that I will be getting you to slither into that hot dog suit and chuck some mustard and get you gobbled up here. And look at this battle. Look at this battle. Prince, can we get serious on this for a second? Because this battle between Hainsey and Sparky is very, very close indeed. 4th and 5th. It's all on the line as, oh, and look at that. He just put his nose in there, Chuck, and said, I'm coming through. And boy, he's got that move done on Sparky, and he was giving him the don't argue there.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. Trev Sparky made a brief mistake, which Hainsey just kind of went, you know what, I'm sending it. If I don't send it now, I'm going to lose a little bit too much time. So I'm going to send it now while Sparky's still trying to collect himself, and I'll have that move. Thank you very much. And Hainsey's now on his road to Jono's stand, as you can see a little bit up the road there, so it's definitely heating up here.
He certainly is. And do you remember, was it Rambo 1 or Rambo 2? That song at the end when he's just blown up a few choppers there in Nam. It's a long road when you're on your own. And something like that. Geez, 20 minutes in and we're already singing as Machin 193, the man, the myth, the legend, lap 161. We've reached the 1,000 kilometres, Chuck Norris. How good is that? And Rain of Fire says, oh, you've only got 10k shadow coins. I've got 26k. Well, why don't you use them then? Oh, yeah. And Wilco has, what's he saying? In the comments are going off, Chuck. What's going on there? Just did the most cooked stint he's ever done. And Banch versus Game. And is up and about in the comment section as well. Like we said, better late than never to get streaming. And you needed to push another stint to, I predicted the win, he says, Ricardo. Hey boys, it's been a while, great racing, and that is our man GRT. Oi, GRT. And Rain of Fire says he's saving those coins, Chuck Norris, for VIP status in the V is for Voodoo family.
Yeah, so sometimes we like to give away a cheeky VIP here on Trev's channel, but in my channel you gotta slug it out, and you gotta try and save up those coins to try and earn yourself the VIP badge.
And we're hearing here now as Hainsey is still on a mission, isn't he? Boy, he's just been showing great pace since we started this stream 6 hours late, but cannot give away our strategy, says Wilco. And we're hearing coming through the comments,
My voice just broke again. Oh, I sound like Wheezy.
and Hainsey again. But we're hearing, Chuck Norris, that there is no more safety car. Apparently Andrelli had to leave.
Oh, that's interesting. I think they've kind of gone through the gauntlet with quite a few safety cars already. Hainsey here though, Trev, I just want to kind of cut back over. Hainsey looking very, very racy at the moment. We've seen him kind of powering forward and taking lots of moves and opportunities to get those positions. And Jono Stan looks like he's all over that mirror, so definitely looking forward to seeing this battle unfold. Madford as well for King's Racing doing his console return, as we haven't seen Madford on the console in a little while at all, Trev.
No, but don't let that distract you from the fact that Jason passed Manafort on the final lap at Imola a few years ago to take victory in whatever KRL season that was. Matty loves it when I mention that. And he's come up in the people you might know on Facebook, and you might know them, Chuck, when they come up in the people you might know, but you still might not know them. As you can see there, Manafort is a second a lap faster, as Wilco is just saying, I legit did a quali stint for 65 minutes, Ricardo, and now we are teammates, Trev, ha ha. And Wilco all the way from Carrum Downs in Victoria. Great to have you with us. I saw that indeed. Great job, mate. And what is happening is Jono given up the sausage here. We haven't gone with any Christian Horner jokes, and Jono has finished up.
Yeah, looks like Jono made a bit of a mistake there in the cutting and kind of leaked himself his Google Drive, and Hainsey was like, you know what, I'm going to gobble that up, and then kind of took it, and now he's running away, Trev.
Well, you do not want to leak your Google Drive anywhere near Christian Horner and his team. Well, they didn't leak it, did they? Someone else did. But you can see there that push on, mate. All quali laps from now on, says Ricardo. As we've got a yellow flag, Chuck Norris, which went green very, very quickly from those 2D marshals standing at their stations. Look at them there. They're not doing a great deal, are they? But, and we've got a yellow flag. Is that Scar? He's facing the wrong way. We've seen a couple of drivers facing the wrong way. And you're going to be doing well to reverse out of there, isn't he, Chuck?
Yeah, that's a tricky spot to be in. You definitely don't want to be facing the wrong direction there at the S's, but he's looking like he's doing a bit of an Austin Powers. He's
Oh,
getting
he's
around.
knocked
Oh
one of the
no!
Hooncorp boys off. Is it Lewis? It's Lewis. He's knocked off
Oh
Lewis
no!
at the top of the hill, and without any more, bang, look at that, through the old Austin Powers, 3-point turn. Oh, bang again, and here comes Vert Wheeler, and that is not a sight you want to see, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the mountain, especially 6 and a bit hours in, and Super VT, VIP, oi, 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 VIP has just joined us, but wow, that all started with who was it going off again there? It was Scar, wasn't it? In the McLaren facing the wrong way. And he's taken out HC Lewis for Hooncorp as well. And boy, Nismo Nath is going to be extremely unhappy with that. The boss of Hooncorp Esports. As we're seeing now from Rain of Fire that Sparky bended at the dipper right in front of them. And that is unfortunate as well. That would have been a safety car we're hearing as Super VT joining us. Did somebody say VIP? Thank you for joining us, Super VT 2000. Please, if you're out there watching, head over to Super VT's channel. Some fantastic content over there. Always a pleasure to support our streamers, Chuck. As HC Lewis into the pits, he can barely get that thing into the pit lane. Such is the damage there on that car.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look ideal. Scar, he did great, in my opinion, to try and get that car out of that tricky situation there. And, he tried to get it out of the way so that nobody else would kind of get caught up in the moment. But unfortunately for him, the scrubbed tyres mixed with the angle of the
box.
kind of just kicked him straight back around. I think they would have managed to get away with that. If the car wasn't like, I'm going to take a holiday here, Trev.
Yeah, it's a difficult place though, isn't it? You make a mistake up there and over-rotated the car. An unfortunate incident indeed as Saints in goes box, and there are 7 mandatory pit stops for tyres here in this race, of course. We had a full formation lap, although that was a long time ago. Yeah, we're about 90 minutes to run in this race. We might take a break, Chuck, maybe in a few minutes, just to mash our potatoes bravas out there for all you Spaniards. But a maximum of 6 safety cars, and there is no safety car in the last hour of the race. But Andrelli's gone, Chuck Norris. We're not going to see it anyway.
Yeah, so Angeli had a couple of things on today, I think. I'm still trying to catch up a little bit in the Discord there. But yeah, unfortunately, our safety car drivers unfortunately not able to be here right now. So yeah, safety car not being called.
Yes, let's recap here if you're just joining us. Pardon me, my voice is breaking like you wouldn't believe. Breaker. As lap 165 of this race, it is FTSC1 leading this race, 165 laps in. Oh, Jason's piped up. What's he said? He said, can I get the lamb skewers, please? Because apparently that's how I said it when we sat down at the Espanol Whistle restaurant down there in Melbourne. Apparently that's how I said it. I did not know my Spanish words for lamb skewers, Chuck, and I've been hearing about it ever since. We're almost at the 1-year anniversary of that. And what was I meant to say? Español cuesta burrero marshmallow. And whatever that means, I hope I haven't offended anybody in Spain. But
Pablo Escobar's on his way over there.
Escobar. Yes, we can have a seance with him in his private jet. But Scheisenhausen, as Wilco up and about in the comments, and there's a man with extremely sweaty palms because he is having a rest, a well-earned rest. But Dynamite is in P2, and there's some big gaps, but Hainsey's still on a charge here, and he's not too far behind Dynamite at the moment. Hainsey continuing for S2T2 there, continuing the march towards they're in the podium positions, Chuck Norris, but with 90 minutes to go, who is your hard-earned money on here?
Oh, it's a bit of a hard one. I don't want to throw it out too early because it's one of those ones that anything can happen around here, especially in that final hour and a half as well, or even that final half an hour. Things tend to kind of go a little bit sideways here. But FTSC won with Zest1 at the helm of the number 3 Merc there, leading the race. They've got quite a substantial lead, almost I'd say about 50 seconds there, but then again, Hainsey is chewing out maybe about a second almost a lap, to P2. So, depending on if Hainsey is running it to the line and the checkered flag, maybe Hainsey would be a close runner up there. But the lead that Zest1 has at the moment, definitely I think I would lean towards that.
As we do have a special guest waiting to join us here. It seems that Super VT trying to join the Combox but did not have permission, and I'm not sure what that means, how we do that, but we need to get Super VT 2000 into the commentary box. Do not despair, as boy, Hainsey is, he really is chewing out the time. Chewing the time out of second position there. We'll get back to that. We've got a few other battles. Mint Matt and Ranger Oz. Look at this, and Captain Planet, he's a hero, and he's going to take pollution down to 0 there. But Matt and Ranger Oz are having a, what we call in the industry, Chuck, as a ding-dong battle.
Yeah, having a good ding-dong battle, as you said here, Trev. But yeah, Mint Matt, very unfortunate to see him get that drive through, but he's still clawing on and trying to make up ground here, and looks like this battle here with Ranger Oz is going to be equally building up. As Trev, looks like we've got Super VT in the commentary box.
We do have Super VT with us. I've just got the live stream here with us, and you can see there is Super VT. And calling in from the cockpit of that car. And Super VT, have you got us there?
Yeah, I do. How you doing, gents?
Great stuff. Talk us through your race. How's it been so far? We can see you here on the commentary cam. Talk us through the race so far in the opening 6.5 hours.
It was wet and wild. I had the pleasure of opening up for Console Sim races today, and yeah, I wasn't prepared for too much wet, unfortunately, and I got taken out. And yeah, it's just been a climb back up ever since. But the boys have been doing good, holding their own out there today.
Great stuff, and we really appreciate the fact that you've been able to join us. We know it's a pretty grueling 8 hours or so, and yeah, I'll just put that away there. We're getting some messages in, but no, we really appreciate it, Super VT. What's the aim in the next 90 minutes for your team for the end of this race here this afternoon?
Just survive. The mountain holds many secrets, mate.
And
just survive.
Never a truer word spoken, Super VT. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here in the commentary, not on anything, in the commentary box. We're just going to give Super VT 2000 a shout out, Chuck Norris. There we go, Super VT Sim Racing Girl there. Jump onto YouTube and give yourself a shout out, Super VT, for everyone out there watching.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Super VT YouTube channel. I just do it for fun. And yeah, no, it's been going great, and I really appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the rest of the race.
Great stuff. Thank you, Super VT. All there, you can see there the details on your screen, on my screen there. That's Super VT joining us there. Jump onto her YouTube channel. Absolutely fantastic content. And this battle continues to rage here, and Matt's looking for an opportunity there. The GT4 of Aaron Thomas for TT Racing, just ahead of them here, but it looks like Matt is lining up a pass on Ranger Oz. And do check out, can we pin that somehow, Chuck? Can we pin that at the top of the chat? I think I've done that correctly there. Super VT 2000, who joined us in the commentary box there just a moment ago. We like to support our streamers and our YouTubers and Twitch, YouTube, whatever platform they're on, Chuck. And it's always good to give a shout out to everybody here when we can.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Trev. We've got lots of drivers that like to stream their perspectives amongst the Oz New Zealand Console Endurance Series, as well as KRL. They do a lot of great stuff. I actually had a bit of a browse through Super VT's YouTube channel because I hadn't seen it before, Trev, before last night. So I had a bit of a browse through, and I saw her doing. I think the video I watched yesterday was. I think she was going through the GT2 content around Red Bull Ring. So definitely be sure to go and check her out on YouTube.
Well, since Super VT has been in the commentary box, she has gone from 1.58k subscribers to 1.59, Chuck Norris. And there we go, all subscribed and ready to go. Great content. She is streaming the Bathurst, this race actually, from her perspective and her team's perspective here this afternoon. Ari Wilkes says hello, first time chatter. Chuck, please read them their memorandum, whatever the hell they're called. Read them their rights, please.
I'll read you your rights as they're stipulated in this little book that I've got here. It says, if you do not follow Trev on Twitch or follow Kid Buyers on Twitch, you will be liable for all the damage that the cars take on the track. I'm only kidding. Please be sure to hit the follow button. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, we would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Chuck Norris. Thank you, Super VT, for joining us. And Ranger Oz has Glasso for company there, but I think he's out of position. As you
Hello, possums!
Thank you for that. That's Bobby Hoskins. We're thinking of you over there in Perth. It'll be about 4 p.m. not Eastern time, WA time over there. Great fun to race with. And Mick Towarders, Mitmat down the inside at the chase, gets the job done on Ranger Oz. And I know we missed 6 hours at the start of this race, but there's still plenty of action, Chuck Norris, to play out in the next 84 minutes of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the racing that we've been seeing over this last hour, Trev, has been pretty great, if I'm being honest. I kind of wish we were able to watch the full extent of the race. Likewise, there would have been so many great moves and moments happening over the course of it. We might have to get a highlights reel to kind of show off next time, but yeah, Matt getting a nice move done there on Ranger Oz.
And let's take a look at the drivers lower down the order. And in 21st, but in 5th, 4th.
These guys are impossible to race with.
Impossible.
They cannot do the stance like this, you know. You cannot go into the corners crashing with other cars.
Thank you, Fernando. Impossible to race with, says Fernando. And that was back in that era where Fernando was always grumpy with his GP2 engine and his other drivers who were impossible to race with. But you can see Cactus here. Let's take a look at some of the GT4 guys. No surprise, it looks like Distinct Andrew Chuck Norris is leading the field for the GT4 boys. Aaron Thomas 25 seconds further back. And we can't forget about these GT4s because they're a class of their own, Chuck.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got a nice multi-class grid here. Obviously not too many GT4s on the grid, but they're having a good crack at it with Distinct Andrew leading the GT4s. Over the course of the races, all the build-up races and the qualifying and stuff like that, Hooncorp have definitely been very, very quick team in the GT4s. The Janetta just seems to purr around here, Trev.
It certainly does. And speaking of, it really is purring along, and you can see there, thank you for showing us off in style, says Super VT 2000. What's that? You haven't subscribed to Super VT 2000 on YouTube? Well, get your little cursor or your little finger, your little thumbnail or whatever, and get over there and subscribe to it, because she is heading towards 2,000 subscribers, Chuck. That is incredible, that amount of followers, just when you think about it, when you say it quick like that. But head over to the channel, Nismo Nath for Hooncorp GT3. Where is he in the field? He's in P11 on the track, Distinct Andrew. And what is a driver like Distinct Andrew going to be feeling letting these drivers through? I guess it's not a great feeling, but he's in a GT4, Chuck, and the speed differential is what, 10 seconds or so a lap, so I don't think he'll be too worried about it.
Yeah, it's just about the timing, I think, and making sure that the passes safe and made in a timely manner. So Andrew looking like he's letting them go early. He has built quite a bit of a gap. So we got reports in the chat saying that he's actually passed car 11 over the course of his last stint, and he's got 25-second gap over the P2 GT4. So, you know, losing a little bit of time, allowing those guys to go through hasn't hurt him too much, and hopefully he'll be able to make it to the back straight going down Conrod before he has to let the next car through.
Well, we're hearing that in this stint, though Andrew passed car 11, he's now 25 seconds clear, so that is an amazing stint there as Vert Wheeler has a bit of a moment at Forest Elbow. And we might jump on board with one of the GT4 cars. I think EXO is getting close to Mark here, and despite this battle being right at the back of the on-track action in terms of the GT4 field, and you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 5 of them at the moment. I'm there as well, but purely as a spectator and the commentator. I am a commentator because I wasn't the world champion, mate. 1,000 kilometers done for the GT4s now as well. That is a titanic, monumental effort, but we're looking at a battle, like I said, despite this being at the back of the field, Chuck Norris, between Megan Markle and EXO here for Team 77 versus Cactus. We might jump on board with these guys for a second. We might get a couple of minutes here. EXO, where is EXO? And there he is. And we're going to try and jump on board Chuck Norris inside the cockpit of this car, just to get an idea of this battle here, Chuck. And while we do that, I might go off and get the dinner that Mrs. B lovingly prepared for me a few moments ago.
Yeah, that's not an issue at all, Trav. I'll run these guys through a bit of a lap here. So Exorcist running through is actually doing pretty good. The AMG here trying his best to crawl onto the back of Megan Markle, as we like to call him, going into McPhillamy Park, taking as much track as he possibly can without it causing too much of an issue, going into the 7 News sign, down Skyline, coming into the S's here, looking very, very good down a second gear, tips it in, he's got a blue flag popping up, he'll be having his team in his ears going, yeah, you're all good, you'll be able to make it down onto Conrod perfectly fine, goes through Forest Elbow there, holds the left-hand lane, he's throwing the indicator on, a nice sign to say, this is where I'm going to be. Mint Matt goes past, down Conrod, little bit of a gap now to Megan Markle. But you got to give it to the GT4 lads. It's very, very tricky. As you can see, the drivers, they come up so fast as he basically comes to a full stop there at the end of Conrod, going into the chase. It's trying to, GT4 traffic is definitely, even GT3s, for those that might not know it, it's definitely one of them games that you've got to work with each other, make sure that the passing moves are done in a safe and timely manner so that you don't ruin somebody else's race. It looks like all these guys, obviously they've been going through the majority of the race, which has been about, we're almost up to that 7-hour in mark, with that final hour coming up real quick. So these guys have been running the gauntlet, knowing that, you know, these moves they can get done where possible. Exorcist picking up a little bit of pace here, starting off the run into the mountain here. You can see the Bentley clawing into the back and allows him to go through.
Let's have a look. We might pick a battle here, Chuck Norris, because Mrs. B has lovingly prepared some dinner. So which battle can we keep an eye on here whilst I shut my big trap and go and have a feed? Maybe Jono and Hainsey, or is Hainsey dispensed with Jono here on this occasion?
Yeah, so Hainsey's gotten past Jono here, but I reckon Jono's kind of got the pace to keep up with him. So maybe we go an onboard lap, and our viewers can listen to the sound of the car and focus and see if they can pick up anything that we don't over the course of a few laps.
We might, we'll stick... Oh, Jono getting a bit sideways there. in the Porker. I'll just leave it here, Chuck Norris, and then I shall return, said General MacArthur when he left the Philippines at the end of the Second World War. But I shall return for real in a couple of minutes. Chuck, we'll leave the viewers with this battle, and it seems that Jono has come back to Hainsey on this occasion. We'll leave it with this battle, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I thought this was one of those unmanned streams of the Bathurst 8 Hours, but no, I am back, and I come back to you with a very important message, Chuck Norris, because look at Hainsey go. He is on fire at the moment. He's just dispensed of dynamite. He's exploded dynamite in Dynamite's face, and he's through up into P2.
Yeah, Hainsey's on an absolute mission here. I don't want to say he's making light work of everybody because, you know, he's a man on an absolute mission. He's basically qualifying pace, you might say. So he managed to get past Project 1. He's now in P2, which is looking good. He's on his way now to Zest 1.
Well, boy, is he on his way. I tell you what, we're on our way towards 30 viewers, Chuck Norris. That's right. If you stream it, they will watch, as they say. And is that Fubbles? First time chatter, says meow. Thank you for joining us. And I was just halfway through pouring my next glass of scotch there when that move was done, Chuck. That's the secret, Chuck Norris. The secret to talking as much as we do is scotch, and plenty of it. But Hainsey there well and truly on his way. How far is he behind our race leader? Well, he's a long way behind him. But they're in the pits now, Chuck. So they make the move, and now they're in the pit lane. Interesting strategy here.
Yeah, so this should allow them to make it home just straight off of the bat. So even though it said +1 lap, that only shows +1 lap because Hainsey didn't go over the start-finish line, which would have given you a time difference to Zest 1. So technically they're still same lap, but Hainsey coming in, doing his final stop now. Zest 1 making his way down Conrod, coming up to the chase. So yeah, there's almost a lap difference there, but Zest 1 does have to come in a pit lane again.
As you can see, Dynamite there battling with Barters, I think, for Saw Racing. And these boys, there are going to be a few Saw boys out here, the number 66 Ferrari down there in P13. And Chuck, I'm going to be honest with you, you're my +1 lap, let me tell you, because everything we've been through in the last 1 hour and 15 minutes tells me that we are experiencing one of those races. We've just skipped the first 6 hours like everyone else in their normal first 6 hours of the race, like every other human being, and we've just gone for the last couple of hours of action. And boy, there's action aplenty. There's a few guys who are a few laps down, but I think this top 6 is going to get very sexy in a second.
Yeah, I do feel like that as well, Trev. There's a lot of big names and a lot of fast drivers, kind of clawing onto the back of each other in this closing, or creeping into this closing hour. So it's going to be heating up, it's going to start getting tense on track, and, when that typically starts to happen, sometimes mistakes start to kind of creep into as well as fatigue.
Well, put it this way, I've never seen an unhappy meal. And there's going to be a lot of drivers who are going to be happy, but not completely satisfied, Chuck. And it's one thing to be completely satisfied in every human facet of humour endeavour. But now Dynamite into the pits. Is this Project 1 Racing looking at what Hainsey has done, and now are they answering back here?
Yeah, quite possibly. So I'm just catching up. Trev, was Norm in the S2T2 car, the 543 McLaren?
And the S2T2 car, I think we've got Hainsey, Sneaky Stew, someone else, and Water Arrow in that entry. So that is interesting. You can see Dynamite in the pits at the moment.
BCP1.
And where is... there we go. And you can just... Well, I don't know about you. Oh, look at Hainsey and Sidorg. Where is Sidorg? BCG1 down in 10th, Chuck Norris. And they're getting another lap put on them. So they will be very severely disappointed with this outing, I'd say.
Yeah, so only reason why I brought that up for the viewers as well as you, Trav, is I was just catching up a little bit on Discord, and there was a message from Norm that came through. And apparently the driver swap bug has kind of slaughtered them twice in a way, as mentioned, and they said race over podium gone. So Unfortunately, although they're not falling through the world when they hit walls or driving through other cars, unfortunately, there's still a couple of other bugs in place that are catching some of these drivers off guard.
Well, I tell you what, you might not have seen it, but I've just spilled half a thing of scotch all over my pants. And wow, that's I smell. No one's going to believe my story, Chuck, because I smell like pure 44% Ned Green / label Australian whiskey, the very best. But wow, there's a bit of an alcoholic theme going on here. But meantime, Manafort and have you noticed something, Chuck? Guess what?
Ooh.
Why has there never been a hurricane called Chuck? Because it would destroy everything, that's why. And now we are 1 hour and 3 minutes away from climaxing here. Climaxing at the end of this race. That's that's getting weirder and weirder by the lap, isn't it, Chuck Norris? But Zest won. Can anybody challenge this crew here this evening, this afternoon, where the bloody hell you're watching or whatever time it is, Chuck? Can anybody get close to this crew here?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Obviously, a couple of the drivers have completed their final pit stops and stuff like that. So we'll start to see everybody kind of balancing out to where they should be. I would say in the next about 15 minutes. And that should give us an idea of who's going to be clawing us to the checkered flag.
Yes, drink responsibly, as Will I Am says. Car 3 just gets better and better, and 180 laps into this race. I've got to say I agree with him, as Chuck Norris is off there cooking up a few chicken drumsticks. Because let's recap, like I always say, if you are just joining us, we are 6 hours 58 minutes into this race, roughly, give or take a few seconds and some change. And it is Zest 1 leading this race. Better late than never. I was 6 hours or so late to this race. I did have a family emergency, which I had to attend to by driving to Melbourne, which, given where I live in the northeast of Victoria, is a long, long way to go. But I'm back now. I've done 500 kilometres of my own IRL, but that's nothing compared to what these drivers have done. They've ticked over the 1,000 kilometre mark, as Super VT says, winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's meant to be a chicken there. But Kurt Rocks says, looking like a good end to this race indeed. Don't forget that Kurt also joined us with a sub last night for qualifying. Great to have you with us, Kurt Rocks, again here this afternoon. Well, it's really this evening now. Mrs. B has lovingly cooked me potatoes and chicken and beans, and they went down the hatch very nicely indeed. And Fubbles has joined us saying, yay, car 87 is third in class. Let's get a look at that one. And in the hands of Rain of Fire now, the little KTM, one of one KTMs in the field here this evening. And they're doing very nicely indeed. On for a podium in their class, Fubbles. Loving your blog posts and all the rest of it there. You do a fantastic job. Let us know if you're going to the Grand Prix this year, Fubbles. It would be great to catch up, and maybe I can grab an autograph and a selfie. That would be fantastic. But 1 hour to go here in this race, and let's recap. We're 7 hours in now. In fact, we're 7 hours into this race now. There we go. And hearing that Fubbles is not attending the Grand Prix at Albert Park, that is a shame. But I'll be down in Melbourne over Easter. If you want to catch up, click us a message and we can go from there. And you can talk to management. I'm just kidding, I don't have a management crew or anything like that. But there is your crew and Super VT. And we're hearing that the Nigerian Prince is back. But he has been feeling sick the last few days. I'll get to you in a moment, Chuck Norris. But Super VT, our VIP, VIP, our latest VIP here on the Kid Buyers Twitch channel, says,
It's the final countdown.
you can hear the song, I sure can. And LOL, boy, why did she put that up there, Chuck? Because she knew I was going to sing. But more importantly, how is the guts and Scheisen for yourself?
Oh, it's not good, yeah. I don't want to go into a bit of too much information there, but I had to quickly run away. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of a mess here. But no, I'm back. Sorry about that, Trev.
No need to apologise. When you go, you've got to go, you've got to go. But Zest won 180. Yes! And we've got a Kiwi joining us. I'm not sure whether we can go with the accents now, Chuck. But Scotty NZ is now following the channel, and he's joined the community. I bet that really pisses them off, that accent, but I can't help myself, Chuck. Another follower to the channel, and I know it's gonna... I tell you what, you had a sore stomach before, Chuck. Get this. I think I have hit that... what have I hit? I've hit something. I've hit my head on the coffee table and passed out a couple of times after too much bourbon, but have we... We've got a new goal now, 335 followers, Chuck Norris, and Scotty NZ is the latest of those.
Yeah, so I just want to give a quick friendly reminder, if you're out there and you're watching the stream, you're lurking, you're enjoying what you see, please do consider hitting the follow button. Trev would greatly appreciate it. We're on the road to 335 followers. Trev's overtaken me now. I remember the running joke over the last few weeks, Trev. One day I'll get you, Chuck, and you know, it took absolutely no time. So if you want to keep pushing Trev past us, then yeah, please do consider hitting the follow button. We greatly appreciate you being a part of the community.
Well, we did have a good chuckle amongst ourselves, didn't we? Of course,
I see what you did there.
many. And there we have. We've got Nismo now, right behind Metal Steel's Ginger. And, well, who am I kidding, Chuck? You're the man that could build a snowman out of rain, and I can't compete with that. But, Chuck, are we witnessing a battle before our very eyes here? Because Nismo, the boss, is behind the wheel of that car, the boss of Hooncorp Esports, and he's right up PRT's Ginger.
Yeah, this is good to see. So the GT3 sides of Hooncorp, obviously they've got a GT4 entry that's leading the GT4s as well at the moment. But Nismo Nath on screen, as you can see, clawing away a medal still lap after lap. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what's a little bit quicker. Stone Tower in the background makes a slight mistake. I'll just quickly finish up though, Trev. I'm interested to see what's going to be quicker down the straight, whether the Ferrari is going to have the legs, or whether this Aston is just going to claw straight up and there's going to be a send down into the chase.
Oh, let's have a look here. He's looking down the inside. It's going to be interesting to see whether he's got the legs. See what you did there, Chuck. You're a bad man. That's right. Straight to hell for you. But Glasso says, man, what a tough race. Glasso's joined us. And I just you've joined us, Glasso. No, he's always been here in the last 90 minutes or so. But Nismo Nath, the boss for Hooncorp Racing. And let's have a look here. We're ready for a 50-minute sprint home. The mountain can be so cruel sometimes indeed. Just when you think you've mastered the mountain, it can come back and bite you in the backside like you wouldn't believe. But Nismo now, I thought he was going to make a move there on that occasion. Stone Towel, who had a moment, didn't he, on that last tour there. And what's going on there is Nismo letting Stone Towel through. But as he's doing that, he's letting PRT Racing and Metal Steel go further up the road down Mountain Straight. What happened there?
Yeah, so it's a bit of an interesting one there, because Project 1, I believe, a lap... Fantastic! Oh no, Project 1 is P5, apologies, Trev. Dynamite296 coming in with a follow as well. Thank you and welcome to the community. But yeah, Nismo Nath opting to let P5 through with Stone Tower at the helm, and I'm sure he's hoping that by letting him go, that maybe the Ferrari of Metal Steel will get caught out and will lose a little bit more time than what he did.
Well, the saying goes, don't be upset that it's finished, be glad that it's ending, or something like that. And I've got to say that with, what do we got, 54 minutes to go here, Chuck Norris. If you can translate that into some form of the English language, you're a better man than me. But Kurt rocks, the mountain gives, and it also takes It took us 4 laps down in the 12 before giving back the win. It's a roller coaster, and that's what your love is like, Kurt Rock. So roller coaster, baby, baby. And we've got a yellow flag out for something. I think it was one of those cheeky pit lane yellow flags I've heard so much about. But Sparky says he is being lapped. Thank you, Sparky Glasso, saying we had a top 5 car, ran up there all day, then a silly mistake into the dipper and spun with 90 seconds of damage, and that's all it takes to go from hero to zero. And Aussie Racer just says, is the commentary booth not open? We'll get onto that quick, smart, Aussie Racer, because we'd love to have you in the commentary box with us. TT Racing having a strong race as well, says Matchin. Had a good battle with Hooncorp for the first 6 hours. And joining the waiting room, Wilco opened the gates of the commentary box, even opened the commentary box door. Chuck, if they really saw what the commentary box looked like, they'd probably not want to join at all, would they?
Yeah, it's no, it's a good place to be. You definitely want to be in the commentary box. So I couldn't think of a better place other than maybe being on the track to be. But if you do want to jump in for a bit of an interview during the race, you can jump into the waiting room, or if that won't let you in there, jump into the driver's briefing room, and I'm more than happy to drag you down.
That's right. So once you've joined the waiting room, Chuck Norris will drag you down, and given the fact that he's Chuck Norris, you might not get back up. But Dynamite says, just an FYI, P1 started 11th, fell to 15th, 4 laps down, worked our way back to 2nd overall. Now only just fallen to 4th because I can't drive to save my life, and it's not up to me to comment about that, because I can't drive to save my life either. And my goodness me, Chuck, I forgot to turn the chat back on, and now we've got the chat coming in on the right-hand corner of your screen. And Beaky is no, that's not Beaky in the waiting room. Somebody's there, but we're going to try and get Aussie Racer 92. And boy, this battle, we've got some serious players here. and the commentary box opens for Chuck Norris. Everything opens for Chuck Norris, that's for sure, Glasso. But we'd love to have Aussie Racer.
Even revolving doors open for me.
I know, no. Now, come on now. We know that you can slam those revolving doors. The only man who can slam a revolving door, and the only man that can play Jenga with Stonehenge. But 51 minutes remaining in this race. And this is a very spicy, scintillatingly chilly, spicy battle. I'm up and about, Prince, because I had some fresh chili on my chicken just a moment ago. Mrs. B doing very nicely indeed. Not happy with the time I got back home, but still, it's not about what time you get home, Chuck. It's about the presents you bring when you're back home. But what I'm trying to say is this battle's getting serious here.
Yeah, this battle is definitely heating up. We've got a bit of a three-way battle here at the moment, although one of the cars isn't in the mix, that being TT Racing with Immortal Nick there, who's a GT4 class. He's not holding him up by all means. He's just doing what he needs to get through the mountain onto Conrod, and then those drivers will be able to make their way through.
And I couldn't agree more, not only with you, Chuck Norris, but with Super VT 2000. And she's advised me that chili chicken is yummy. It certainly is. And Mrs. B just doing some sort of pan juice gravy sort of setup there. Working very... Don't you love it when your gravy soaks into your mash? And then you can sort of do all that sort of stuff as well. But, well, nobody is hungrier for a magnificent final 50 minutes of this race than you and I, Chuck Norris. But please, if you're out there wanting to join us in the commentary box, we'd love to hear from you as we continue to watch this battle between BCG2 and S2T2. Plenty of Bs, plenty of Cs, plenty of Gs, but Chuck, we're seeing Mitmat into the pits now. Interesting there.
Yeah, so there's a couple of drivers coming in and they're doing their final stops. So Madford as well for Kings Racing is, I believe, he's currently stopped in his pit box as well. But yeah, Matt jumping in, diving in. Hopefully no drive-throughs this time, because that would definitely hurt them. But yeah, you could only imagine, Trev, for BCG2 as if he didn't get that unfortunate drive-through earlier, you know, where he possibly could have been. But then again, likewise, you can say the same thing for those drivers that have caught the unfortunate driver swap bug as well.
I don't know how to tell you this, Chuck Norris, but whilst you were chatting about the driver bugs and the driver swap bugs on this game, it seems that Mrs. B, the creator of that beautiful chili chicken mashed potato bravas and bean dish, is with us in the chat, and she's just saying that all I can hear is you screaming about or talking about chicken. And in the comments there, she can hear me talking about chicken all the way home, Mrs. B, for the next 48 and a half minutes as we look at Nismo in 8th here. Let me tell you, that chicken was delicious. And as you'd expect, Chuck Norris, Mrs. B coming in with the rare VIP badge. You'd expect nothing less from Mrs. B.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't expect anything less. Although I do know Mrs. B, you know, you can use Trev's credit card and you can subscribe at a tier 1 as well.
And that was a strange whispering noise in my ear, but I think that was saying, Mrs. B, if you'd like to subscribe at a tier 1, I think it's linked up to my PayPal account, which will come out. She can't afford it at the moment. No, and don't you dare do that, Mrs. B, because we'll get the money eventually, won't we, Chuck? About a month later, and Twitch will take 67% of it out. But anyway, that's a story for another day, because this battle is continuing to rage like wildfire in the State Forest, because I think Metal Steel has got Nismo for company down Conrod Straight here, Chuck.
Yeah, so Nismo Nate, you know, the Ferrari looks so small compared to the Aston, you know, it almost looks like a bit of a meme with how big it is, but yeah, the company that Metal still has in his mirror is definitely not going to be going away. I feel like these guys might be going straight through to the checkered flag from here, but you know, you never know. There might be a little bit of a twist in the works here. But Trev, we've got a commentary interview here. I've got Aussie Racer on the line for you.
Yes, we certainly do. I was just looking at Sparky God highlighting his message there in the chat. Kaima, she can't afford anything at the moment. Got that next round of bills coming in. But Aussie Racer 92 has joined us in the commentary booth. Have you got us there, Aussie Racer? And yes, have you got us there, Aussie Racer? Thank you for taking time out to jump into the commentary box, mate. Can you hear us there?
Yeah, always a pleasure to have a chat with you, mate. Always a good time.
Great stuff. We do apologise there, Aussie, for leaving you in the waiting room. It's kind of like being in a really bad doctor's surgery. You're waiting all day. But mate, talk us through the race tonight and how you've seen it so far, mate.
Look, I think the getting into the commentary box thing was a bit of user error. I had another look and figured out I was the problem. As for the race, though, obviously everyone in the same boat. Started off lap 1. Most people opted for slicks like we did, and it rained on lap 2, so that was heaps of fun. But we've had a good battle at the moment with who is that? The GD4 Hooncorp team. Yeah, we're coming second at the moment. I don't think we'll catch them at the moment on speed, but we've had a good fun race with them.
Great stuff, mate. And 45 minutes remaining. What are we? What's the expectation? Obviously, a very long race. A non-championship round, of course. This one here at Mount Panorama. Everybody's put in plenty of practice, of course, leading up to this weekend, mate. But what are you looking to get out of the next 45 minutes before the checkered flag drops here at Mount Panorama?
I think just a strong run home at the moment. We're doing our fastest lap of the race at the moment, as I'm sure most people are, after starting wet and just building up the track into optimum. I think second is about where we are at the moment, barring any hiccups from Andrew, who has just been on fire all day. He's been so quick every time he's in the car.
He certainly is, mate. We've been seeing him. We've a little bit late getting on here tonight for this race, but he is in an absolute league of his own here. He's quick. No matter what you put him in, he's a quick peddler, mate. But thank you, Aussie, for joining us. And all the best to your squad.
Thank you for having us up here again.
Absolute pleasure, mate. All the best for the next 44 minutes, and thank you for giving us your time out to have a chat with us here this evening.
No worries, mate. Just like to give a big thanks to Nick, who's currently driving our car. Putting it on pole position last night in the shootout for GD4 was absolutely unreal. and Ritcon, our other guy driving with us as well, and our team principal James, who's just had surgery, but he's filling in as our safety car advisor and team principal, but he'll be back in action shortly.
Great stuff, and big shout out to you, James, team principal there, and hope you're on the road to recovery. Ozzy, thanks for joining us, mate. We'll let you get back to it, and we'll try and get you in a bit quicker next time, mate. If you want to have a chat with us, thank you.
No worries, mate. Talk to you next time. Bye.
Great stuff. Aussie Racer 92 there, wishing James, the team principal there, Chuck, a speedy recovery for that squad. And I think, speak up, Aaron, says Matchin. No, we heard him loud and clear. And we starting on wets, Glasso, as we're looking at this battle here. Still plenty of on-track action to play out in the next 43 minutes. Sidorg and Kilroy going at it, but we've got the great man Scott Sniper with us. And we've got Scott with an interview for us here. Thoughts and prayers, that's right, for a speedy recovery. Thank you, Glasso and Super VT. We've got Scott, we've got Sniper, F1 Sniper, with us in the commentary box. Scotty, are you there?
Hey boys, I'm just watching my boy Shawnee Fuller get around a back marker. He's been behind him all back and top of the mountain. And now we've got Matt Simmons breathing down our neck. This is going to be a pretty intense last 40 minutes.
And talk about breathing down.
Jesus!
Breathing down your neck. We'll jump on board and have a look at this battle. And boy, that's putting it mildly. Sniper there, you can see Matt, not the kind
this is gonna be a test, isn't it?
It certainly is. And you've
Around
joined
the
us
outside.
around the
no.
outside. You can't do that, Sniper, but he's just gone and done it. My goodness me.
I tell you what, if you can do it, you got to give it to him.
Wow, that's boy, that is that's done and dusted, that one, mate. But Sniper, mate, give us a perspective from your point of view on the race this evening. We know we jumped on a little bit later for circumstances outside our control, but great to have you with us, mate. Talk us through your own race from your personal point of view this evening.
Yeah, well, this evening started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon over here in New Zealand, so it's been a big day. It's kind of funny to talk about a race going all day, but it really has. This has been we're coming up 8 hours, and as GT was just saying, second lap, we're pitting for wets, and that came and went, and then rain came again. We decided to just stay out on slicks, which paid off. I think we got about 30 seconds up the road before it came dry again, and then there was another safety car, so the whole thing came back together. We were looking quite sweet for a while, but we've had everything, mate. Rain, sunshine, we've been turned around at the Dipper, we've spun at McPhillamy. We're still here in 6th, so we're stoked, to be honest.
And sounds like you're pretty happy. I did say this evening, but like you said, a little bit later, of course, for you guys across the ditch in New Zealand. And we're seeing one of your fellow countrymen here, Sidorg and Kilroy. Oh, I tell you what, Matt, passing around the outside of Shawnee Fuller there at Murray's Corner. I thought Sidorg was going to just get that move done there, but unfortunately he couldn't quite do it. But mate, looking, what are we, top 6? Was that what you were expecting coming into this race?
Well, we knew we had a good race car. We knew it was quick, but it was easy to drive. So we'd started 14th on the grid, and we didn't have the best quali, but at the same time, I knew that we could just drive solid laps, and as long as we kept out of trouble, we were going to be sweet. But, this is probably, I wouldn't say best case scenario, but it's pretty damn close. We've had, just like everyone, we've had glitches all day, but we've sort of just worked around it and sort of rolled with the punches and try not to sort of let it get us down, and we just kept getting back up and just doing laps. That's all you can do. So we're stoked, mate. Like if we could have held off Matt, it wasn't going to be an easy task, but if we could have held that 5th, that would have been pretty awesome. But from 14th to 6th, we're happy as well.
And I think there's, 14 and a bit seconds back to Ranger Oz there. And Fly Sky just advising us we're on the home stretch. There's a bit of talk about boxes and all the rest of it in the chat. Don't ever change. Thank you, Super VT. But, mate, we appreciate your time. And Shawnee Fuller, he might have, I think we were just talking about how dangerous Matt was. And then he passed Shawnee. But, no, we know that your squad is on for a top 6 finish here, mate. And we know Ranger Oz is 14 seconds further down the road, but it's looking good so far for that top 6, mate, and 39 minutes to go. Still, anything could happen.
Yeah, cheers, boys, and thanks for getting on, Trev, after your dramas today too, mate. We really appreciate it.
No, always a pleasure. Thank you to F1 Sniper. Thank you, Scotty, for joining us.
Awesome, boys.
And
Thank you.
yeah, we better late than never, as the saying goes. But Matt is absolutely on fire as we take a look at Shawnee Fuller still there with us. We've got someone in the waiting room. I think it's Dynamite TNT waiting. We do like trolling. Naturally, LOL, you're good fun and mega fun. Good on you. And our favourite pastime, honestly, trolling is the best pastime. A lot of troll discussion in the chat, and believe me, trolls. What is it? The Trolls World Tour, Chuck. I've seen that movie plenty of times with the little one. It's a great one as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen those movies in a long time, but those animated movies, they're not just for kids, they're for adults too. I remember there was one of them that it was doing a deep dive into like depression and stuff like that, and I feel like that's a great thing in a sense of things. Depending on how it's done, it can be a great thing for the kids. Obviously not too full on, but just to kind of let you know that it's okay not to be okay. But yeah, Rain of Fire, they're making a slight mistake there for the gamesman coming out of the chase. I wonder whether the KTM looped around a little bit.
Yes, something happening there at the chase. We caught the back end of that incident with Rain of Fire, and Fubbles saying 100% says Super VT, and Scotty saying their trolls are CRAP, Puss in Boots, the last wish is way better. Geez, try telling that to my 6-year-old. We've got that thing constantly on repeat. And on Foxtel Go or Foxtel IQ Now or whatever the hell it's called, one of the several different streaming apps that are available to us, Chuck Norris. But, well, we had some interesting battles here, as I think we've got someone else who's just followed the channel 17 minutes ago, and they've followed the channel, Chuck Norris, and then they've jumped straight in the commentary box afterwards.
Yeah, that's it. We've got Dynamite, the newest follower to Trev's channel here. So just quickly, friendly reminder, just before we kind of cross over for an interview here, if you're out there and you haven't hit that follow button yet, I don't know what you're doing. You're missing out on plenty of great content. You're not going to be wanting to miss out on anything over the course of this year.
Well, as Dynamite now, he's the latest member, the latest follower to the channel. And we've got him on the line with us. Dynamite, how are you?
Oh, living the dream, mate, living the dream.
Well, you've, and no arguments there, mate, but talk us through your race and how you've seen things play out in the last 7 hours or so. I can hear my voice playing back to me there, but talk us through it, mate. How have you seen it?
Oh, hang on. I'll mute that for you so you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, that's
all
right. All good.
I've got the stream up on my computer, so...
Great stuff, mate.
Does it work?
Yep, no, we can.
Sorry.
I can hear you, but I can't hear myself, if you know what I'm trying to say. But no, we appreciate the time, mate. We know it's plenty happening throughout the course of these races. As Kurt rocks, you've jumped into the comments section as well, Dynamite. Let me tell you, living the dream certainly ain't my dream, but it's certainly someone's. But mate, talk us through the race and how you've seen it from your perspective.
It started out not too great for us. We had, with the wet, we lost a few places at the start, had a few issues when the rain came down. Like I said, we dropped back to 15th and we were 4 laps down at one point. We were like, we're just going to crack on, see what we can do. And then, a few safety cars later, getting back towards the front, we were like, yeah, okay, this is good. Then the safety car, just before the second rain period, come out and we got back on the lead lap. And literally, as we were coming past the pit entry, it started raining. So, Prezzo was driving at the time, he jumped in. So, while everyone else was sort of stuck behind the safety car, we were already on the wet tyres. And then, from there, everyone else boxed under green, and we were all of a sudden running in the top 4 or 5. From there, it was just like, we were like, we just need to try and, as I see there's an issue on track for one of the McLarens.
And, well, Hainsey has crashed, we're hearing that he's had a massive incident somewhere at the top of the mountain. We'll get back to you in just a second, Dynamite, but this is huge for this race, isn't it, Chuck Norris here with 34 minutes to go. This man who we've seen storm through the field has a tremendous amount of damage to that car, and he's got no other option here, Chuck, but to come into the pit lane.
Yeah, that was a very big moment by Hainsey there. A lot of damage on the front of that car, so that's definitely going to be a stamp in their run for S2T2. So very unfortunate. Hopefully not too big of a damage bill there, but yeah, very unlucky and very unfortunate to see nonetheless.
We'll jump back with our leader. We'll get back to you now, Dynamite. 33 minutes to go in this race, mate. What are the expectations in the next half an hour or so before the end of this one tonight?
Well, as much as I don't like it, that Hainsley was the guy we were battling for the class lead with in Pro-Am, so that's now given us the class lead and overall podium. So as much as I don't like to see it, I don't like getting positions that way, that did benefit us, so hopefully Prezzo can just bring it to the end now with 0 incidents. Prezzo's been driving crazy, like he's second to lap faster than me around Bathurst. He knows this track like the back of his hand, so a lot of this result will be on him. Also got to thank our team principal Lane, who's been sitting in the Discord safety car chat pretty much all day. It's literally the best way to spend a Saturday is to sit in the safety car chat and watch all your mates race. So I just want to give a shout out to him as well.
Yeah, big shout out to the team principals there, mate. But thank you for joining us, Dynamite. We wish you all the best in your class for the rest of this race, mate. Thank you for taking the time to jump into the commentary box and have a chat.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, mate. We'll get back to it. A big moment in this race. And that can happen. Chuck Norris, Hainsey in the pits, and he's going to have a fair wait, I'd reckon, in the pit lane to fix that damage. But geez, 7.5 hours in, Chuck, and then that happens to you. And they're not going to be happy down there at S2T2 Racing. As Beaky has joined us, sorry to get to your comments a little bit late, Beaky. He says, glad the afternoon shift made it on. Fell asleep on the couch waiting for you. And don't call me Fubbles or I'll scratch your face off, Trevor. That is very serious indeed. I do apologise for Scott. We'll stick with Scott for the time being. Hainsey crashed and didn't see what happened to him, sadly. Just put it on stream to see the wheel at right angles, trying to keep it in a straight line. But let us know, Fubbles, if you... Oh, my God. Let us know if you want to have a chat with us, and we'll take it up with our management team if we had one. But it's not about counting your chickens, is it, Chuck, before they come home to hatch, to roost? Oh, whatever the hell that means. But 30 minutes to go. What can you see happening, Chuck, between now and the end of this race? Can we see any battles, anything emerging here that's going to take us on the final run home?
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting one. There is a few seconds gap between most of the drivers here, but as we talked about a little while ago, Trev, maybe half an hour or so ago, we were saying that in that final hour, even that closing half an hour, sometimes the fatigue and stuff like that kind of starts to really settle into these drivers. We've heard from a few of them so far. We've got a few more to kind of drag up as well, but it's been a long day for a lot of these people out here, and you can't fault them for having a mistake here or there. It's just a part of the nature of not only the track, but the nature of the endurance racing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, no more mistakes for some of these guys in the final half an hour. But, you look at the times and the gaps between some of these guys, and one simple mistake, as you can see from Hainsey, kind of throws you right out of contention for where you should and want to be.
Certainly does, and coming from the man who, let me tell you, you do not sleep, Chuck Norris, you simply wait. You wait and you wait for the moment to strike. But Beaky says, been travelling with Hainsey, the boys have been going great guns, pity about their incident. And Scott saying, I'm a menace. Dennis the Menace. Mr. Wilson! He was a real little shit of a kid, wasn't he? But when you look back on it now...
I got fastest lap too!
Oh,
look at you go!
And Salty Wilco, he's behind the wheel of that. Great segue. Great segue there. Thank you, Beaky, for the sound effects. Keep them coming in. We've got 37 people. We're gently climbing that tally, Chuck, aren't we, here this evening? Keep your comments coming in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to each and every one of you to spread the love here this evening, but just 29 minutes to go. And we came in late to the party here, of course, but King's Racing, Jason Wilkinson behind the wheel of that car, Chuck Norris. They're in P2. That's not a bad performance from them after winning, of course, didn't they, at Paul Ricard last year in the opening round. We missed that race as well, but this is not a championship round, of course, as we've got Viper, who has joined us now. We're hearing in the chat. Viper, thank you for taking the time out, mate. How have you been? Have we got you on the line? Why must we suffer in silence? And we're getting, who are we getting, what's happening now, Chuck? Are we getting, I think we got, well, thanks Viper for coming. I think we're...
Oh, rain of fire into the fence, Trev.
Oh, and let's just get back to that in a moment, because rain of fire now in the fence. And that's the second time we've seen that car in some trouble in the last half an hour or so. In fact, less than that, because they had trouble at the chase as well, Chuck. They're not having a good run here.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for Rain of Fire. He had a mistake a few laps ago at the coming out of the chase, and now he's had another mistake going into just out of T2, going into the fence there. So very unfortunate for Rain of Fire, but you know, we'll cross over to Glass, so just double check that we can hear you.
Hey, what's happening?
Got you loud and clear. Trev, do you want to take over this interview, and I'll just check in with Viper and just check on the technical issues.
We certainly can, as thank you for jumping in, Glasso. Give us a quick 30-second race summary from your race here this evening or this afternoon, if you don't mind.
We sitting on the grid, 10 minutes to go. Possible rain, we gambled, started with the wets. By the time we got to halfway up to lap one, near the crate was pissing down, so right move, we went, everyone pitted the first lap, and then by the end of the second lap we were sitting second or third. We're at the pointy end all day, made a silly mistake going to the dipper. Ruined the race. It can be cruel sometimes, but you know, that's racing.
Yes, these things can happen in the world of sim racing, mate, but what were the expectations for your team and for you personally coming into the 8 hours here? We know a lot of the drivers have, or everybody's been preparing for this weekend for the last 5 or 6 weeks, mate. What were the expectations like coming into the race this afternoon?
Look, we were happy for a top 10 at one stage. We were like, you know, on pushing for a podium until that mistake I made coming to the dipper in the stint. We were on strategy was right all day. Last safety car, Saint Sim was just at the chase. Quick reaction to box, you know, so we didn't lose too much time, so we put it under safety car, got Mickey back in, and we were going really well until that error. But we were happy for a top 10, but you know, you live and you learn, don't you?
Yes, yeah, no doubt you'll still be able to take plenty out of this race, mate, but always a pleasure to have a chat with you, mate. We know it's a stressful time, of course, whilst these races are happening, mate, but thank you for taking the time out to join us, like I said, and all the best for you guys in the run home for this race, mate.
Oh, good. What a race.
What a race. Thank you, Glasso, for joining us, mate. Absolute pleasure to have you in the commentary box with us. We've got the man Viper back, and he is joining us here, I should say, here this evening, or wherever you are in the world, a little bit later in New Zealand, a little bit earlier in WA in the eastern states. It is exactly 8:10 p.m. Eastern time, but Viper has jumped in, mate. Can you hear us?
I sure hope so. It seems like it this time.
Loud and clear, and my good mate Viper has joined us, mate. How have you been travelling? Always a pleasure to have a chat with you, mate, but yeah, talk us through how you've been going so far here this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Trav. Look, honestly, it's an absolute pleasure to jump in with the boys for this run. I wasn't planning on being a part of this. I mean, I'd signed up to be a steward, and the opportunity came up to run live with Matt Simmons in Melbourne on his own rig, and the opportunity was a bit too good to be true. So plane ticket later, and here I am in Melbourne while he's in the rig, and enjoying a good weekend of drinks, laughs, F1, and sim racing. So it's been fun.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. So let me get this straight. You are in Melbourne, all expenses paid, and you are with Matt Simmons in his very own rig at the time being. Am I hearing this right?
I'm not going to say I'm in the rig with him. I think that's where you'd rather be. But no, it's not quite all expenses paid either. I have paid my own way down here, but it's a great excuse for a getaway and just spend the weekend with the mates and yeah, just enjoy myself a little bit.
And that is fantastic stuff. Let me, boy, you just know how to get me up and about. But, mate, let me tell you, great stuff. Thank you for joining us, mate, and it's great to speak with you. And hope you had a good time away, I think, recently, mate. Where did you go? What did you do? You don't have to sort of tell the world, but you managed to have a getaway recently?
Yeah, you're prodding me at this one, but it was back-to-back weekends at Bathurst for the 12-hour and the 500, both working behind the scenes. So that was good fun, really good.
Awesome stuff, mate. Well, keep us, and don't be a stranger, mate. Don't forget to add me on the socials, Facebook. You've come up in people I might know, but I didn't want to add you. So anyway, we'll just play it by ear at the moment, mate. But thank you for joining us. Great to have a chat with you, mate. And we'll keep in touch. Obviously, GT7, a lot of stuff happening there, mate, as well. But we'll keep in touch, no doubt.
Of course, thanks, mate. Take care. Pleasure to be here.
Great stuff there, boy. Chuck Norris, let me tell you. The great man just knows how to get me up and about there, talking about the great Matt Simmons there. But, wow, great insight there. We're hearing some pretty good insights from all of these drivers, aren't we, here, who are jumping in to have a chat with us here this afternoon into this evening, Chuck. And it's great to see how what they're experiencing through their very eyes and from their perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's one thing I think I love the most about doing these interviews during the race. You know, it's typical in a way to do interviews after the race and hear from the winners and stuff like that. But having that fresh perspective during the race is not only gives us a bit of an insight into how they're going, how the car's feeling, those kind of things, but it also gives you, the viewers, an opportunity to have a bit of an insight to that as well. But Trev, I just want to give a quick shout out to Hainsey as well, who gave us a bit of a raid earlier. So please join us in giving Hainsey07 a follow as well. Welcome in, Raiders. Hopefully you're all having a great day. Hopefully you're all enjoying the stream.
Yes, big shout out. We're going to catch up with those comments. Go Viper, you're my hero. Let me be your hero, says Random Hainsey. Shout out was given to Hainsey. Thank you. He's raided the stream with a party of 13 the champagne. And cats have faster reaction times than Vipers. Thank you, Scotty. Water Arrow punted me at Forest Elbow. And Beaky says, Viper called it. Trev and Matt in the rig. Trev's dream date. That'd be a little bit close for comfort, but you wouldn't hear me complaining. As Mick, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey says, that's awesome, Viper. And Viper, of course, doing amazing work behind the scenes for Race on Oz and the GT7 League as well, which I've had a bit to do with. They're a great bunch of lads, no doubt about that. We've ticked over, or almost about to tick over, to 200 laps of this race. And Super VT as well, not forgetting about our latest VIP, says, she's saying, it's great hearing from everybody. Matt or Voodoo's rig is a tough call. And I'd be happy with either, as can't finish the race, driver change, I didn't select. Put a driver in the car, that's not in the server, that's our night done, says Rain of Fire. That's terrible, terrible news. Glasso joining us says, oh no! Do you remember Lewis when his engine blew up in Malaysia and Nico Rosberg went on to win the championship in equal machinery, Chuck? That's the sound he made.
That's the sound I would make too.
And Glasso jumping in and saying, what's F1? Well, we don't need to worry about what F1 is because it's all about ACC here this evening. And these GT3s and GT4 cars, look at that. Willstar, the man who kept us scintillatingly on the edge of our seat. And he kept us guessing, didn't he? But that qualifying lap that he put in last night will live with me for a very, very long time. Whilst I have memory, Chuck, how about that qualifying lap last night? It was something to savour, wasn't it, for us here on stream?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that was almost textbook stuff. Like, the only closer time you could get would almost be identical times, which was not too far away from that. So qualifying last night definitely shaped us up for a big race here today.
And you can see there's our race leader as, hey Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind, says Super VT. Mickey saying, hey Super VT. Speaking of F1, Snorkel says, speaking of F1, who's your tip for tonight? In other words, how much will Max win by? Chuck, 2 a.m, 1:30 a.m. your time in SA tomorrow morning, of course, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Max looking good to start off this year how we left off last year.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is, it's a bit demoralizing in a sense of things, the one point where I remember Max was like, the car is shit, man. And he was like, 1 second or something faster than anybody else. So a little bit demoralizing, I think, for some of the other drivers on the grid. But yeah, it's just another Max Verstappen year. But F1 had that with Lewis Hamilton for a few years straight as well, so it only seemed natural for a new young gun to kind of burst onto the scene and stuff like that. But talking about bursting onto the scene, this year we've got an absolute stacked calendar here for the Oz and New Zealand Console Endurance Series, and Willstar looking to set it off with a bang. Although this is non-championship round, Trev, starting off the year with a win is definitely setting yourself up for a good year for the season.
Well, I think if you look up demoralising in the dictionary, it's causing someone to lose confidence or hope, I think, is the Oxford description of it. But these drivers are not losing that, especially this man, Willstar for FTSC1, because they're well and truly on their way with 16 and a half minutes to go in this race. Hainsey says, thank you for rating us, Hainsey. Thanks for having the two S2T2 cars. Shame we binned it, but we learn a lot. Whatever makes the money, says Glasso. And Snorkel is proud of you boys. A mega effort all round. Unfortunate with that crash, but we might just go through the order. And 41 viewers, Chuck. Can we get to 50 before the night is out? We've been on air. We've ticked over to 200 laps here at Bathurst. And watching these drivers continue to navigate this Mount Panorama circuit after 7 hours and 45 or so minutes. We've ticked over to 2 hours and 6 minutes on our stream, Chuck, but let's recap, because 202 laps in, it is Willstar and then Jason Wilkinson for Kings Racing, as Beaky saying that you can see there that Hainsey and the boys have been brilliant for a rookie team. They have done a good job, Chuck, haven't they, despite that crash a little bit earlier on?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that's the one great thing about Mount Panorama, just in a big nutshell of things, is, you can have a mistake early on, you can have a mistake any point during the race, but, it's not over until you see that checkered flag, and it's tricky, after a mistake, you lose a little bit of confidence, but, you bounce back after a few laps and you come out stronger than ever.
As I've just sent a friend request over Facebook to Viper, getting my snipers and vipers mixed up, and I've only been on air for 2 hours. You can see there, I hope that's him, Chuck, who I've just added on Facebook. If not, and you're out there watching, what are the chances of that happening? Given the day I've had, I wouldn't be surprised. Please add us anyway. But no, spot on, Beaky. And look at this Ranger Oz. There we go. He's added me Viper has now added me as, there we go, and wow, there we go, he's accepted, he has accepted, and now we have become friends on social media, it's official, and all he had to do was jump into the commentary box and have a chat with us. How good is that? But alright, I'll come annoy you lot. We've got the boss jumping in as Ranger Oz and Shawnee Fuller. They are getting a bit too close. They are getting very close and very personal. Feel free to have a stalk at the racing events I've been to as well. I'll be looking through those pictures a little bit later on. That sounds weird, doesn't it, Chuck Norris? And geez, I better be careful not to hit that like button on any pictures that are a few years old.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, a simple mistake like that. I mean, it happens around the mountain, but, sometimes those mistakes happen.
Please give me a chance. Thank you, Viper there. Give me a chance. I won't let you down. And you'll see that coming very, very shortly as Nismo has joined us. Everybody, please be upstanding for the boss of Hooncorp Esports, Ranger, having a look. But he's not going to get through there as he goes through Hell's Corner there, continuing another run up the mountain. And we've got Nismo. I hope you got your ties sharpened and your collars crisp, because the boss is joining us, Chuck.
Yeah, we don't have the boss with us.
We do, and Nismo, Nath, mate, thank you for joining us. It would not be an endurance race without you jumping into the commentary box, mate. How are your boys travelling, given you are the boss of Hooncorp, of course? How have you seen things tonight?
Oh, mate, this has been, we've seen ups, we've seen downs, victory, heartbreak. It's just one of those ones, the mountain bites, doesn't it? We were actually leading the race for a fair chunk there, but unfortunately not to be. But, I mean, given that this is an exhibition, given we're all just having a bit of fun before we get into the real season, it's been quite cool sort of seeing all the teams making a statement.
Yes, it certainly is, of course. This is a non-championship round, but that hasn't worried anybody here this evening. And, of course, plenty of preparation going into this race. Just 12 minutes left in this one. And, mate, we do appreciate we've seen you out there on track this evening. Like you said, overall happy with how the boys have gone tonight, mate. And also, before we let you go tonight, can you give us a bit of an insight into what's coming up for the Hooncorp boys in the future, mate? Of course, in real life and as well as in the sim racing world. I'm all over the social media stuff, mate. Can you give us an update on what's happening?
Yeah, well, we've got a few plans in the works across everything that we do. We've actually just sort of hit the button, I suppose you could say, on seeking some sponsorship, some funding to make some of these plans happen. We want to run a brand new car in the National Endurance Championship this year. Obviously, we want to take a serious crack at the Aussie NZ title. And Sector 1, which obviously we're underway with Sector 1 at the moment. That's really quite going on. But yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see what, to what level we can get it all done. We've been doing this sort of thing for a very long time, and I think it's about time we started to take it a bit more seriously. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Well, mate, whatever we can do to help you support that, we will. Chuck, can we get the Hooncorp socials up and all the links into the chat, mate? We'll do our best. Nismo, thanks for joining us. I always get a little bit nervous when the boss jumps in.
This is fantastic!
As Super VT redeeming the Murray Walker sound effects there. These people don't realise how loud that actually is in my ears. But Nismo, thank you for taking the time out, mate. We know you're a busy man, but thank you for having a chat with us here in the commentary box for the Bathurst 8
These
hours
guys
this
are
evening.
impossible to race with. Impossible. They cannot do the stance, ladies, You cannot go into the corners crashing with other cars.
The sound effects there, but no, thank you, Nismo. Thank you for the kind words, mate. And yeah, we're just enjoying this. And thank you, Chuck, for check out everybody in the comments there, in the chat here on this live stream. Check out Hooncorp, all the W's, twitter.com/Hooncorp. There, it's in the chat, so jump on to Hooncorp and click that follow button. And Chuck Norris, they're doing magnificent things in the world of online sim racing and in real life as well. As Hainsey, loud in the ears as well, he says. And WPE Handstar, first time chatter, And we need a salty rain sound effect. I don't think we've got one of those. But Chuck, while I've been BSing on here, we're inside the last 10 minutes of this race.
Yeah, this 10 minutes has kind of clawed up real fast and real quick, although we've only been here for the last 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, Trev. It's kind of blowing through real quick.
Yes, we knew that's... well, we know why there's never been a hurricane called Chuck Norris, because it would destroy everything, but we are blowing in for the next 9 minutes. We might be on air for a little bit longer. I tell you what, if we've got to talk to the top 3 from each class and each team, Chuck, we might be on here until midnight Eastern time. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. You never know, but there's still 8.5 minutes left of this race, Trev, and I don't know, I'm interested to see how this is going to go. Kings Racing, they were in contention maybe an hour and a half or so ago, but Willstar for FTSC1, those guys look like they're on the money in this final 8 minutes to kind of walk away with a win here.
And as Glasso chips in, it says Chuck Norris sneezed and it caused Hurricane Katrina. That's right, and boy, you won't be doing that again as we look at our race leaders here. And Scott saying, I can't believe this. And let us just tell us what you're upset about, would you please? We can't we can't say the F word anymore if we've been advised. Otherwise, we'll get our eyeballs scratched out for good measure. As Super VT says, I got to disconnect, but she is scared to rejoin. And VT should be okay. She doesn't want to risk it there. And as Scotty jumping in and saying, we get to 3rd in our class after being several laps down. Look to be in good shape to take the last podium spot and then get screwed over. And that is not good either, but it'll be cool. I'll hang out here some more. And do not be scared, because apparently she doesn't want to risk getting disconnected and rejoining, I think, Chuck, there. So 7 minutes to go. Any advice for Super VT while she's looking to jump out?
She should be able to jump back into the server, but I think she's more worried, I think, maybe about the stutters and stuff like that it can sometimes cause when you're rejoining or joining a server part way through a race. So yeah, it's completely up to you. You should be fine to join. But yeah, with 6.5 minutes left on the clock, if you're happy to sit and chill, then that's also an option too.
And don't forget, everybody out there watching, I'm looking at you, Super VT. Not actually looking at you, because that'd be a little bit strange, wouldn't it? But let me tell you, please follow V is for Voodoo, the Nigerian print, as... Oh, and there's somebody in the wall. We are hearing Water Arrow as is in the pits. They were in the wall, and that is dreadful news for that squad again, S2T2. They've had a dreadful run. It is their debut, of course, here this evening, and they've got plenty to be happy about. But now they're back in the pits, Chuck, and that could be them done and dusted.
Yeah, I did see that there was a yellow flag at Forest Elbow as they were kind of coming down onto Conrod, so maybe the car kind of snapped and ended up in the fence. I'm not quite sure.
As right on, says Super VT. And thank you, Viper. Viper jumped in to have a chat with us. I get a little bit nervous when these boys jump in, I tell you, because I wouldn't say I follow them all on social media. And, well, now I do, as Liam accepted. Anyway, enough about my social media habits, because Scotty's come in and said, Karma, just like Fernando. Do you remember when Fernando said, I like your sense of humor? Karma. And there we go. And Scotty and Viper saying, lay off Scotty. And then Super VT coming back with, oh no! Lewis in Sepang in 2016. Chill slightly maybe, says Snorkel as the race leader. Rounds up Randall there for the GT4 class. And Viper, I've given away his government name, and I do apologise for that. As let's get that popcorn out, Glasso, because we've got a big final 5 minutes here. And if you haven't managed to get it done in the first 7 hours and 56 minutes, Chuck, there's probably not much chance you're going to get it done now. I'm not saying the positions are set, because anything can happen in sim racing, and it usually does.
Yeah, absolutely. The final few minutes is definitely where, you start to kind of not really fully sit back and go, oh, it's over, but, you start to get a little bit more complacent, and that's where the real mistakes start to happen. So just make sure to keep your drivers fully focused, keep blasting stuff in their ears, and make sure they're alert for this final 4 minutes.
And get your popcorn, get your chicken tenders, because I am with Chuck Norris, the only man on the planet that can kick you in the back of the head, back of the face. I butchered that one because we've been on air for a little while, not quite the 8 hours, of course. Popcorn chicken, says Glasso. Everybody has done a great job today, but Will has been unstoppable, and there's not much he can't do. There's not much that Will can't do here this evening, Chuck, except join the army, because everyone says fire at Will. And I've said that joke a few times. But Matterford says, can Willstar do an extra 2 pit stops just to bring him back to the pack? He'd still probably find a way, wouldn't he, Chuck?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where everyone's kind of, over the course of the race, they've kind of been strategically placing their pit stops throughout the race to kind of get themselves to where they're at. On top of that, they've been building track position through pace over the course of the race as well. So, it's good to see the contention was so close when we managed to jump into the race here this afternoon, Trev. And it slowly started to spread out and even up a little bit. But, we did have quite a few safety cars as well that kept everything nice and close before we jumped on.
And you can see we've already done 13, says Zesto. And a big shout out for everyone watching. Like we said, had a bit of an family emergency there earlier this afternoon, but managed to get on for the last 2 and a bit hours of this race. And Super VT jumping in, our newest VIP to the Kid Buyers channel, saying, time waits for no man unless that man is Chuck Norris. And let me tell you, I tell you what, Simon says nothing because Chuck Norris tells him what to do. That's exactly right. And Viper jumping in there saying Matt is so close to catching car number 71 for the podium. 7 seconds. Well, stranger things have happened, Viper. And Beaky jumping in saying Trev's new crush is Will. How does Matt feel? Do you... Leader is on the final lap. Let's check with race control. Why does race control sound like a Nigerian? But you know what a Nigerian sounds like. They want to take your money, and then they take your soul, then they take your blessings. Okay, went a little bit hard there, but our race leader is on the final lap. Hope everything is okay, Trev. Yes, Beaky, all good. Had to rush the old man down to Melbourne for some tests, but I'm back home, and all is well that ends well. And what does Matt think of my new crush? Well, I've only got a crush on the winners, and let me tell you, this man, given his qualifying lap last night, given his race performance, not just him but his team here this evening, I'll be sending some Dropbox Google links to him, because he's the new flavour of the month, Chuck Norris, and they're on their final lap here.
Yeah, the final lap now, it's kind of, the 8 hours is all coming down to this. So, Willstar, no mistakes now. You don't want to be ruining that in the final lap. But yeah, FTSC1 have been doing really good, holding the purple lap of the race. And, we've heard from quite a few other drivers, letting us know that the rain as well earlier on in the race was very tricky to come by and stuff like that. So a lot of these drivers have overcome a lot of obstacles, hurdles, and all that kind of good stuff to get down to this final lap here, Trev.
Here we go, 3, 2, 1, 0. The time has counted down. Weeks, days, minutes, hours, weeks of preparation has led us to this moment here. to everybody out there watching and everybody for FTSC1 Racing. Will Star comes across the line to win this race for his team. A fantastic team effort from everybody in that squad here to get the job done. 8 hours, can you imagine? I can't do much for 8 hours, let alone race around here, but what a performance. Such has been the dominance of that team that this man, Kings Racing, Jason Wilkinson, they'll finish second, but they're a long, long way back, almost a lap between them and the next car. And you can see there, Trev has a few crushes, just quietly says Rain of Fire. And Glasso replying back with, he says, I'd love to think that I'm one of them. Chuck Norris does not sleep, he just waits. Oh, I like that Super VT. I might have gone with that one a little bit earlier on. But thank you, Super VT. Best wishes for the old man, and cannot wait. Thank you, Beaky, as long as Mr. Trev's dad is okay. And he's doing pretty well for a 78-year-old now. And I think he stopped counting at 70, let me tell you. He was driving around the other day, and he says, look at this silly old prick in front of me and how he's driving. And the guy gets out, and he's about 25 years younger than he is. But anyway, no, he's keeping fit. Thank you for the thoughts. Glasso can't wait for the 24 hours of Nords as well. Great timing there, says Glasso. Epic race, guys. Thanks for bringing it to us. What have we been saying all night, Chuck Norris? Better late than never. And cheers, mate, says Beaky. Been practicing LOL for Super VT as down Conrod straight. I think there's a few other guys that have already seen the checkered flag, of course, being on different laps and so forth. But Kings Racing, they took victory in the opening round of last season of the Australia-New Zealand Endurance Series. They're going to take P2 tonight here, Chuck. And you'd have to say they're going to be extremely happy with that. It's not P1, but what comes straight after P1 is P2, and they're coming across the line.
I got fastest lap
Yeah,
too.
that's it. Congratulations to all our drivers for not only tackling 8 hours of Mount Panorama, but making sure that you could see the checkered flag.
Great stuff. Kings Race, sorry, the sound effects there from Beaky. Talking about perfect timing from Beaky, we heard Jason Wilkinson's voice there as they crossed the line. But let's recap for everybody just joining us. Class win to Dynamite. We might get a screen grab of that one, as you can see there in their class. Dynamite getting the job done there as well. But boy, what a race we've seen. The checkered flag drops 210 laps here, Chuck Norris, and I think everybody has come in now. They've finished their race. We'll just recap because Will Star. We'll get to these here. FTSC1 taking the win. Will Star and Zest1 getting the job done after 480 minutes. It doesn't seem real, does it? And then Kings Racing with Wilco, Mac, Cartdude and Matterford in P2. And then Project 1 in P3 there on your screen. Fourth for Mint Matt Random in the BCG2 entry. BCG3, Ranger Oz and Speedy Tyres, and Jimmy offloading his load there. And that squad in P5. P6 for Lost Boys. P7 for BCG1. P8 for LSR. P9 for PRT. Oi! And you can see there Hooncorp rounding out your top 10. And in class it was Distinct Andrew, Hyperdrift and Ikotosh with getting the job done there in class. The Mercedes there, Nick and Aaron Thomas and Ritcoin, or whatever you want to call him there. And then our top three, Team 77 getting the job done. Absolute class win, baby, there for Dynamite. 100% Prezzo there. And Team Little Bear says fourth in class, go Cactus. Good result for that squad as well. And why do I do that every time Team Little Bear jumps in? I think it's because I like to call him Running Bear, the famous legend of the native Indian tribe who loved Little White Dove with a love bigger than the sky. And that's exactly how I feel about you, Chuck Norris. But Beaky saying, well done to all the guys and girls. Epic effort there to everyone. Well done. Even to the late commentary box, not looking at anyone. Trev. We survived, says Super VT. Great result for you guys as well. You were gifted that position, Little Bear. Boy, there's a salty Scott there but in the chat. But Aussie Racer, big shout out to Hooncorp. GT GT4, well fought battle for the GT4 win, kept us hustling all race. Well done to everyone involved on a successful race. Awesome, thank you, Heath. It's getting a bit late over there in across the ditch, but gee whiz, we've got some drivers coming into the commentary box now. Chuck, are we going to talk to all of them? Chuck, is that how we're going to do this?
It might be easier if we take one driver from each team for a bit of an interview, and they can kind of tell us about how their race has gone.
We can certainly do that. Will, have you got us there, mate? We might start with you winning the race for FTSC1. And, mate, you put on a masterclass there. You entertained all 500-odd people who watched the stream last night with your qualifying lap, mate. But you managed to take P1 after the 8 hours, mate. Talk us through it.
Oh, it was a fair track. I don't think I've ever done 210 laps around anywhere. It's bloody insane. But yeah, in the first 10 or so minutes, we had a bit of an incident with the GT4, and that pretty much put us to the back. I think it was 30 seconds, 20 seconds of damage or something, 10 minutes in. And then we sort of just played to the safety cars. By the end, we had 13 pit stops that we've done, which is about, 6 more than we planned to. And those last 3 hours, we just managed to make it so that it was perfect. We just did 60-minute stints at the end, and our car didn't fall off at all. We were just doing consistent laps the whole way through the stints once the rain buggered off, so that was good.
Fantastic, mate. Absolute class of the field, FTSC1 tonight, mate. We appreciate you joining us, mate. You put on a masterclass there along with Zest as well, mate. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on getting the win here tonight at Mount Panorama.
Thanks.
Great stuff. Will there, I think we've got Jason Wilkinson joining us tonight there for Kings Racing. Wilco, have you got us?
Yes, we do. Yeah, what's up?
What's up? Well, I'll tell you what, mate, it's a second tonight, and wow, it was always going to be difficult to take on FTSC1, mate, but Kings Racing
I got fastest lap too.
Getting the podium finish tonight.
Oh,
as I hear my own voice and yours as well on the sound effects. Thank you, Beaky, but we'll go talk us through your race and your team's performance here this evening to get on to P2.
Alright, so you want 8 hours of info down into 30 seconds. Alright, let's try it. So the race started dry for 2 laps, and we chucked on wets, and yeah, sort of got in the lead. And yeah, we're sort of just cruising. The safety cars, yeah, there's 5 safety cars, which sort of didn't really help, but then yeah, we're just cruising home, really. Had a bit of an incident with Hainsey at the end, which I'm sure you saw, and car wasn't too good at the end, but yeah, managed to hold on for P2. Good stints by Matty, Mac, and Brody too.
Great stuff, mate. And how are the boys? How is everybody at Kings Racing, mate, preparing for a big season, isn't it? A bumper season in the Australia-New Zealand PS5 Endurance Series, mate. How are the boys going down there at Kings Racing?
Yeah, well, we've got 5 drivers now. We usually only have 3 spots, so we'll have to play around and try and fit everyone in. Bingo didn't race today. He was doing a cricket final, so we haven't heard how he went. And then Brody only did wet laps today. Matterford did tough stints, and Mac did a tough stint too. So boys are all good. We're happy with P2, and there for Valencia round 1.
Going to be absolutely fantastic, mate. Well, you'll get protection as usual, I'm sure, and that's the way it goes, mate. But thanks for joining us. We wish everybody at Kings Racing all the best, mate. P2 tonight, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, and well done to Matty on his return to console racing.
Yes.
Can't beat him, Matty. Join him.
And well, geez, we've got some comments, some pretty interesting comments coming in from Fubs there. Scott, I think he wants to be. I'm stumped as to why these comments are coming through here from Scott. But we'll keep going on with these podium interviews. As a Stoned Towel, I think we've got him there on our list of people to talk to. P3 for Project 1 here this evening. And Stoned Towel, mate, have you got us there loud and clear? Well, whilst we wait for Stone Towel to get back to us, Scott is really taking a stand here, isn't he, in the comment section? I'm not sure what is happening there, but we'll get back to that. Get the popcorn ready as As Stone Towel now, I think we've got him here in the commentary box, Chuck Norris, to have a chat with us for Project One Racing. He's the representative from Project One Racing. And there we go. But I'm getting a lot of information coming in here. If somebody can help me out. Is Stone Towel, have we got him there? All right.
Maybe we'll
3 strikes
come
and
back
you're
to
out. We'll come back to that,
Stone
and we might get. No, we've got Andrew. That's right. This man, I love chatting with this man. Distinct Andrew is with us. This man is quick, pacey, no matter what car you put him in, and we've got him on the line with us, mate. A class win. Congratulations to your squad here this evening, and Hoon Corp getting the job done yourself, and Ikitosh and Hyperdrift, mate, getting the job done. Congratulations on your win in the GT4 class. Talk us through it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. That was a pretty good race. We struggled a bit there in the midpoint. When the track dried out there, kind of halfway through, we probably ran pressures a bit low, so we were struggling to get some grip, which is why the guys were a little bit slower than what they probably should have been. But no, they did really well. All I wanted was essentially just to bring the car back, obviously to me in one piece, so then I could try and have a fast blast to the finish. And thankfully, the guys were able to do that. I think all three of us managed to avoid some near misses at certain times. I know I was probably involved in about 3, I think, off the top of my head. I'm sure there was probably more. But yeah, overall, that was a lot of fun. Starting, I don't know, where were we? I think 3rd in class, 20th overall, and to obviously pick up class win, and I think 16th overall. Yeah, I think it was a pretty good afternoon and evening, all things considered. So we'll weigh up our options and hopefully have a crack for the real season.
Great stuff, mate. Beautifully summed up there at the end of this epic race. We know everyone's been putting in plenty of time and plenty of effort, mate, behind the scenes. But thank you. And what are your plans? Just quickly, mate, for you personally, what are your plans going forward? Obviously, GT7 is a big one for you, mate. What are your plans in the near future?
Well, there's not much going on right now. There's certain things that I'm working on myself, but from the actual video game side of things, there's nothing happening at the moment. But I would expect maybe sometime within the next month there will be certain things start up again, and we might have a go and see if we can make something happen this year. Hopefully, maybe a bit of better luck if I can get certain other things sorted, and then maybe an Australian representation might not be too far away for a live event. But we'll keep working at it, and hopefully it'll happen one day.
Great stuff, mate. Well, we're always right behind you, as you know. Thanks for taking the time out, mate. Congratulations winning the GT4 class tonight, along with Hyperdrift and Ikitosh for Hoon Corp GT4, mate. Congratulations. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure there to have Andrew joining us. He's very, very quick indeed, no matter what you put him in. As Nick, who I think I've lost track, we've lost them all off the screen here, but I think the GT4 class finishing, was it 2nd tonight in the GT4 class?
Yep.
2nd, yep. Thank you, Wilco, there. As Nick, mate, have you got us there loud and clear?
Oh, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yep, you bet I can. Talk us through your race tonight. Obviously, the GT4's different class entirely, and that's a masterpiece of understatement, mate. But happy with P2 in the end overall for your guys?
Yeah, we're very happy with P2. It was a pretty tricky race all around. We had a good start to it. Lost a little bit of time in the rain with that ridiculously quick Janetta. That thing, when it's wet, was just an absolute rocket ship. But we managed to get back a little bit of time, some safety car tactics, and Aaron and James and Rickon. James was there as a principal, helping out on the voice chat with strategies, and Rickon and Aaron did fantastic stints, both of them. So we're all generally happy with it overall. It would have been nice to be a bit closer in the end, but finish on the lead lap after 8 hours. On the lead lap of the GT4 class after 8 hours was great.
Great stuff, mate. Well, always a pleasure to have a chat with you, mate. P2 in the end in your class overall. Thank you very much, mate. All the best too going forward, of course, for the Australia-New Zealand Endurance Series. This was an on-championship round, mate, but congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep. Thanks very much. We'll be definitely back for more. Fantastic event, guys. Great job.
Great job. They cannot get enough of it. Thank you, Nick. And I've forgotten who finished third in the GT4s.
Team 77, yes, but they're not in here.
And they're not in here. Wilco, if you'd like to give us a brief race recap in 20 seconds in your own language, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah, cars Team 77 were a little bit slower than the front two. Managed to finish P3, which was a great result for the lads.
Yes, and thank you, Wilco. There,
30 seconds. Sorry,
I put him on the spot there. It was close to 20 seconds, but it sort of took on a strange New Zealand accent there. But no, sorry for that. Oh, we're pretty happy with that. Yeah. Thank you, Chuck Norris. Sorry, you were about to say something.
Oh, sorry. I was just sorting out some stuff with Stone Tower. I managed to get him working, and then I drag him up and he disconnects. So yeah, maybe. Let me give it one more quick try. Is disconnected again. So it seems like a slight technical issue there.
Yes, it wouldn't be the first time, that's for sure. But it's about time to say, I said thanks everybody. Mick saying thanks, lads, for the stream and the silly voices. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Super VT 2000. Don't forget, big shout out to you. Jump across and follow on YouTube. Thanks, Wilco. Everyone loves Wilco. Too much info there, says Beaky. Thank you to everybody who organised this. Jason Wilkinson, I'm going to jump over to you now to say some thank yous and some shout outs to some people who did some pretty good work behind the scenes to get this race ready for us to run tonight. And I'll let you say some thank yous whilst you've got the microphone.
Thank you for that very long intro there. First off, big thanks to Andrali and Burra, and obviously you two for all the work behind the scenes. This race wasn't going to happen about 2 days ago, but luckily the game was fixed, and all sorted there. And then all the drivers that rocked up today. Thank you to everyone. We had to disqualify 2 teams, unfortunately, but I think everyone had a pretty good race. Good, long lead into the this Bathurst 8 hours. So sort of glad it's over. I can't wait to have a drink or 3, and But no, again, thanks to you two for doing the commentary, and Bob also for Friday night. So we'll catch you all in Valencia in just under a month's time.
Great
or just
work.
over a month's time, sorry. 5 weeks.
Perfectly summed up from Jason Wilkinson, the man who organises all this, the boss, our boss, doing a very nice job indeed.
Fortunato.
Say again?
Fortunato.
Yes, that's the Italian word for lucky. But really, when you think about it, luck does not come into it because we've got some fantastic people working behind the scenes. Thank you, Wilco, for the wrap of that. Chuck Norris, thank you for joining us. And we've got him at a good time too, off the back of 14 hours sleep. But Chuck, always a pleasure. And it's a bit intimidating coming into the commentary box with someone who can literally piss their name into concrete. But it's been a pleasure to have you alongside me. And always a pleasure, Chuck. Thank you once again.
It's always a pleasure, Trev. Always a pleasure to share the commentary box. And I'm looking forward to this year and what the Oz-New Zealand Console Endurance Series has to offer.
Yes, absolute pleasure to have Chuck Norris to get... I thought he'd left. He's still there. That's all right. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Everybody, better late than never. That's been our theme so far this evening. Super VT, Machin, Beaky, everybody. Mick, you're so fine. You'll blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Absolute pleasure to bring this to you. And don't forget, it's been an absolute joy to stream this and commentate with the great man Chuck Norris. Wilco for all the behind-the-scenes work. Burra Dog as well. You are the real goat out there. I know you're watching and listening to this. And Andrelli for all the special super-duper graphics, which I didn't quite get to them. I do apologise. But the race intros, all the graphics, all the videos, that is all the work of the great man Andrelli. But we're almost out of time. Chuck doesn't race because he was born a winner, says Beaky. Great to have your company with us, everybody. That is a wrap here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. But that's the Bathurst 8 hours done and dusted. The drivers, everybody has an opportunity now to rest up before Valencia, the opening round of the Australian-New Zealand Endurance Series in roughly 5 weeks' time. But keep an eye on this channel. We'll have some other content for you coming up in the not-too-distant future. But be kind to one another, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this to you. And for now, it's goodbye. We'll see you next time around. Bye for now.